Chapter 768. 768, that long. Lung Ruoxua was depressed. Alas! Time was money. Okay. Fengzhan nodded and then closed his eyes. After Fengda and the others heard Fengzhan, they consciously set up the tent without Lung Ruoxia's instructions. At the same time, the first elder, who had returned to the dragon clan's territory, transformed into a human, and came directly to the hall where the patriarch was. First elder, what's the situation outside? I've already sent people to gather the clansmen. The dragon clan's patriarch, who was sitting on the main seat with a depressed face, spoke first as soon as the first elder entered the hall. Alas! Didn't the first elder say to try not to fight if possible? Why did he ask the clansmen to gather again? It really couldn't understand. Patriarch, wake the old ancestors up. First elder sighed helplessly. The dragon patriarch stood up from his seat and said, "What did you say? How can that be? First elder, you should know that we can't disturb the ancestors unless it's a matter of life and death." Of course I know that, but it's already the moment of life and death for our dragon clan, so we have to shout. First elder sighed. Is it that serious? Even if Lung Ruoxua takes in the Phoenix clan, she might not necessarily be able to destroy us, right? After all, the strength of our two clans is about the same. The patriarch of the dragon clan frowned in puzzlement. After knowing that the Phoenix clan had disappeared, he specially went to the Phoenix clan and confirmed that the Phoenix clan had not been destroyed. It was impossible for the Phoenix clan to move casually like their dragon clan. In this way, the possibility of it recognizing a master was very high. Moreover, many members of the dragon clan had disappeared. Therefore, they guessed that Lung Ruoxia's strength should be B. That was before, my patriarch. The old phoenixes of the Phoenix clan have already woken up, and they are with Lung Ruoxua. The dragon clan's first elder said with a long face. How is that possible? Even if the Phoenix clan was forced to acknowledge them as their masters, they shouldn't joke with the lives of their ancestors. Moreover, those esteemed ancestors would never recognize humans as their masters. Otherwise, they wouldn't have chosen to sleep. The dragon patriarch said with a puzzled face. Patriarch, I didn't expect it either. But I saw Fengzhan. The first elder of the dragon clan said helplessly. Fengzhan was the most famous in the Phoenix clan, so he believed that the patriarch would definitely know as long as he said this name. Are you sure? The dragon clan's patriarch asked in disbelief. Patriarch, I won't be mistaken even if that old phoenix turns to ashes. The first elder of the dragon clan promised. Well, he remembered that when he was young, that old phoenix came to fight with his old ancestor for no reason, so he couldn't pretend not to recognize it. First elder, then you mean? The dragon clan's patriarch only spoke halfway before his golden eyes stared at the first elder. Patriarch, if we don't invite the old ancestor out, 11 I'm afraid our dragon clan will disappear from this continent. Alas! We really shouldn't have provoked that human. The first elder of the dragon clan was regretful. In fact, dying a dragon was really nothing. The missing clansmen did not die, but most importantly, they underestimated Lung Ruoxia's strength. This was what made him the most regretful. At first, they wanted to settle the score with Lung Ruoxua when they knew that the fifth elder went to seek revenge on humans, but instead killed himself instead of taking revenge. After all, none of the clansmen who went to seek revenge with the fifth elder returned except for the fifth elder. However, they were wary of Lung Ruoxia's strength at that time. Later on, they guessed that the Phoenix clan might recognize her as their master, so they changed their strategy. However, they didn't expect her to not appreciate it at all. Now, she kindly reminded them to wake the old ancestor up. Ooh. With those old phoenixes, they had no choice but to ask the old ancestor to do it. First elder, are you sure you have to invite him? The dragon patriarch was still a little hesitant. After all, this was a big matter. Patriarch, I don't want to wake the old ancestor either, but this was Fengzhan's idea, the dragon clan's first elder said helplessly. Alas! Then let's wake the ancestors up. The patriarch of the dragon clan sighed and cursed the fifth elder, who was long dead in their hearts. Patriarch, let's go to the forbidden area together. First elder urged. If you have problems with this website, Please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Let's go. The Dragon Clan's patriarch nodded, and then the two of them walked in the direction of the Dragon Clan's forbidden ground. 10 days later, Lung Ruoxua lay on the hanging bed and looked at the dragons staring at them cautiously. She was amused. Alas, these dragons were really acting as if they were facing a formidable enemy now. Speaking of which, were they that terrifying? They were actually guarding against them like they were thieves. Miss, the meat is grilled. At this moment, Fonda took a piece of fragrant grilled meat and handed it to Lung Ruoxua. Thank you. Lung Ruoxua divided the meat into 3, gave one to the freak, and gave one to Huer, who was coiled around her wrist. Then she held the only piece of grilled meat in her hand and said to the black dragon opposite her, "You must be hungry. You have to guard the night for us every day. It's quite tiring. Do you want to eat one?" "I don't want to eat it." The black dragon swallowed its saliva and said with great determination, "Ooh." It would definitely not bow its head like food. Even though it was very hungry, it wanted to be a dragon with backbone. "Lass, give it to me if it doesn't want to eat," Fengzhan said as he emerged from the tent and snatched the only piece of grilled meat from Lung Ruoxua. "You're all baddies," the black dragon said fiercely with tears in its huge dragon eyes. Then it turned its back incomparably sadly. "Ooh. Out of sight, out of mind, out of sight." It couldn't see anything. It kept muttering in its heart, but the fragrance of the grilled meat drifted into its nose along with the little wind, making it unable to deceive itself even if it wanted to. "Lass, you're really bad," Fengzhan said with a smile. For more than 10 days, this girl had been teasing those little dragons when she had nothing to do. Now, those little dragons ran away as if they had seen a ghost when they saw them. The number of dragons monitoring them outside the Dragon Clan's territory decreased from nearly 100 to 1. Alas, they were becoming less and less valued by the Dragon Clan. How sad. Chapter 769 Old Friends Meet 5. You were wronged. How kind of me. I didn't take advantage of the dragon's danger. Otherwise, these little dragons would have belonged to me long ago. Lung Ruoxua said aggrievedly. That's because you're afraid of trouble and want to capture them all in one fell swoop, Fengzhan said understandingly. He had long understood her thoughts after interacting with this girl for a while. However, he also wanted to meet his old friend, so he did his best to cooperate. Hehe. Why aren't those old dragons awake yet? Lung Ruoxua changed the topic. It should be soon, Fengzhan said. Lass, what do you intend to do with those dragons? Fengzhan asked again. I don't know. I'll take it first. However, they have to pay for their living expenses, Lung Ruoxua said after some thought. Living expenses? Fengzhan was stunned. As far as he knew, this girl shouldn't be short of money anymore. Yes, there are too many beasts. I can't support them. Lung Ruoxua said bitterly. Lass, you have a lot of money, Fengzhan said speechlessly. The wealth accumulated by the Phoenix clan alone was enough for her to use for a long time. Who would complain about having too much money? Lung Ruoxua said with a light smile. Lass, just sell a few pills and you will be rich. Really believe me, Fengzhan said with certainty. No, we have to keep the pills for the beasts to eat. Lung Ruoxua objected. Fengzhan was speechless. He really didn't know what this girl was thinking. She gave the easiest profitable pills to beasts to eat, then robbed everywhere. She even got a certain beast to pay for her living expenses. Just as Lung Ruoxua and Fengzhan were chatting, a strange movement suddenly came. Immediately after, dozens of incomparably huge dragons flew out of the dragon race's territory. These dragons were giants compared to the previous dragons. Fengzhan floated excitedly in the air after seeing the dragons appear, and transformed into his huge body to confront the dragons. Lung Ruoxua quickly moved the old phoenixes out of the bracelet. What happened? An old phoenix asked with a face full of confusion. However, it immediately felt the familiar aura of the dragon race. The gazes of the old phoenixes collided, and then they flew into the air and instantly transformed into their largest original form. While Lung Ruoxua looked at the dozens of dragons and phoenixes in the sky, and couldn't help being a little speechless. Alas! Why did nothing change so much? It blocked the sunlight. Now the entire sky was already full of red and gold. Oxu was master, let's pack up and leave this place. Fengwu ran to Lung Ruoxue in a hurry. Why did you leave? Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. It's too dangerous here. These old dragons have always fought with our old ancestor, so we better stay away lest we get implicated. Fengwu said understandingly. Oh, then get everyone to pack up. Lung Ruoxue ordered. Yes. Fengwu nodded. Then she quickly packed up with Fengde and the others, and the little peacock carried Lung Ruoxue and the others out of the range that might be affected, just as Fengwu said. As soon as Lung Ruoxue and the others left the battle circle, the old dragons and the old phoenixes, who had been staring at each other, began to attack without a word. Immediately, the sky was dyed golden red, and the dazzling golden color intertwined with the burning flames. Dragon breath and southern spirit flew everywhere, and the water in the air was quickly evaporated. Huge dragon scales and phoenix feathers fell from the sky nonstop. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Fengwu, why didn't I know that your phoenix clan has such a deep enmity with the dragon race? Lung Ruoxue looked at the fierce battle on the battlefield between the old dragon and the old phoenix with a puzzled face. Master, they were just joking. Fengwu was at a loss for words. Play around? Are you sure? Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. Probably. That's how they fought when I was young, but it seems to be more intense this time, Fengwu said weakly. Oh, how long do they have to fight? Do we have to decide the winner? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. There's no need. They're evenly matched, Fengwu explained. Not necessarily. Fengwu, do they have a rule that forbids others from attacking? Lung Ruoxue asked with a naughty smile. I don't think so. Fengwu said after some thought, but she was a little nervous. What did Master want? That's good. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Then she turned to Fengde and the others and said, Do you want to go up and practice? Yes, but miss, it's too hot there. We won't be able to last long, Fengde said awkwardly. It's okay. I'll get Charm to cast a freezing spell on you. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile, and then moved Charm out of the bracelet. Okay. Fengde and the others nodded. Master, leave it to me. Charm lay in Lung Ruoxue's arms and said with a light smile. Then it gently waved its little claws, and dozens of elementary mystic techniques were thrown at Fengde and the others. Soon, a layer of ice formed on Fengde and the others. Then Fengde and the others summoned their beasts and rushed into the battle between the old dragon and the old phoenix. Schwer, let's join in the fun too, the freak said, his hands itchy. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded, and then flew into the battle circle with the little peacock. The old dragons were stunned when they saw the humans and beasts who suddenly appeared in the battle. Then they glared at the old phoenix, whose face was full of innocence, and roared furiously. Fengzhan, what do you mean? This isn't my fault. I'm innocent, Fengzhan said with a wronged face. However, he couldn't help but be secretly happy in his heart. Hee, these old things juniors all cowered and didn't dare to stand out. Then who does it have to do with them? Aren't you together? The largest golden dragon roared with its huge dragon eyes. We're together, but they're not under my jurisdiction. Fengzhan flapped his huge wings and said helplessly. Chapter 770 Old Friends Meet 6. Then who will take care of them? The old dragon roared. My master. They are all my master's subordinates, Fengzhan explained. Master? You really acknowledged him as your master? The golden old dragon glared at Fengzhan resentfully, its huge dragon face full of disappointment, entanglement, depression, and other emotions. It didn't expect this old thing to really acknowledge him as its master. When it just woke up, it heard its junior say that this old thing might have recognized him as its master, and it even swore that it was impossible. However, now that it heard this old friend saying it himself, it couldn't not believe it even if it wanted to. Really? Longyu, didn't I just acknowledge a master? What kind of look is that? Fengzhan said helplessly. Even though the dragon and phoenix races had their own pride, he felt that Lung Ruoxue, that little girl, was worthy of them recognizing her as their master. After all, that girl's future was limitless. It was also their honor to follow such a master. Why did they sleep back then if they chose to recognize humans as their masters? Long Yu widened his dragon eyes and roared furiously. If they didn't sleep, they would have returned to their hometown long ago and wouldn't have stayed here. That's different, Feng Zhan said softly. A large part of the reason why it was willing to recognize Lung Ruoxue as its master was because of Feng Zhan. Well, Little Master's master was definitely not wrong. What's the difference? Aren't they all humans? Long Yu said angrily. My master isn't an ordinary human. There's candy to eat if you follow my master. Why don't you consider it too? Feng Zhan said seductively with a smile. I don't want to acknowledge a human as my master, Long Yu said stubbornly. But many dragons of your dragon race are in the hands of my master. Moreover, they might not be willing to return to the clan. Feng Zhan said with a naughty smile. During this period of time, those dragons had been staying in the space so happily that they were a little forgetful. They would definitely not be willing to return to the dragon race. What do you mean? Long Ye's face was full of question marks. Idle literally. My master didn't take them in as his underlings, but they insisted on following my master shamelessly, saying that they would rather die than return to the dragon race. Feng Zhan provoked. That's impossible. I don't believe it. Call them out. I want to confront them. Long Yu might be angry, but his rationality was still intact. Therefore he would definitely not be fooled. After all, he knew Feng Zhan very well and knew that this old fellow loved to play mind games and sow discord. I can't decide this. You have to ask my master, Feng Zhan said very irresponsibly. Who is your master? Long Yu roared. It's me, Lung Ruoxue said. Alas. It seemed like she couldn't continue pretending. Hurry up and let us dragons out. I want to ask them myself. Long Ye's nostrils flared as he said angrily. His widened dragon eyes wanted to see through Lung Ruoxue. Well, in his eyes, he didn't find anything special about this human woman other than her beauty for the time being. No. Lung Ruoxue refused directly without thinking why. Long Yu asked in disbelief. However, he couldn't understand why a mere human mystic sovereign wouldn't be afraid of his dragon might. This shouldn't be the case. You are their old ancestor. They will definitely be afraid if they come out and see you. They might even say something against their conscience. Therefore, I can't let them out, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. You have to believe me. Long Yu panted heavily. No. Lung Ruoxue shook her head with a smile. You. Long Yu was so angry that he was speechless. He could only glare at Lung Ruoxue with his huge dragon eyes without blinking. Old Long, my man will be jealous if you look at me with such affection. Lung Ruoxue reminded with a smile. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Affectionate? Who's looking at you affectionately? Don't wrong me. Women are big trouble. Long Ye's fat dragon body couldn't help trembling when he heard Lung Ruoxue's words. And his face was full of fear. Old Long, you're biased against women, Lung Ruoxue said with slight dissatisfaction. That's the truth, Long Yu said nonchalantly. Now's fact? Old Long, do you still want to see your dragon, Junior? Lung Ruoxue was not interested in discussing women with a dragon, so she took the initiative again. Of course I do. I thought you refused. Long Ye's dragon face revealed grievance. Yes, I won't let you meet your clansmen. However, I can let you meet outsiders, Lung Ruoxue said with a mysterious smile. Outsiders? What do you mean? Long Yu asked in puzzlement. Grandpa Big Brother. Lung Ruoxue gave them a look. They immediately understood and summoned Long Hao and the first elder at the same time. Master, why are you looking for us? Long Hao looked at the first elder with sleepy eyes and asked in puzzlement. A dragon wants to see you. Lung Ruhan shrugged innocently. Well, this was not his idea. Who is it? I'm very busy. Long Hao's face was full of displeasure. It was cultivating. It didn't have time to receive other dragons. It's me. Long Ye's eyes widened, and he used his nose to sniff Long Hao's body with all his might. Oh, what a thick imperial bloodline aura. Which branch of the imperial family was this little fellow from? He was so curious. Oh, Long Hao answered lightly. It was not very interested in the dragons on the boundless heaven continent, so it naturally would not be too enthusiastic. Little guy, whose family are you from? Long Yu asked anxiously. I don't know. Long Hao replied without much interest. How can I not know? Long Yu said in disbelief. I don't know, I just don't know. I've never seen my parents. How would I know whose family I'm from? Long Hao looked at the old dragon in front of him like he was an idiot and said lightly. Long Yu was depressed, but then he turned his gaze to the other dragon and asked. You should know who that little fellow's parents are, right? I don't know. The first elder's answer was the same as Long Hao's. Chapter 771 Proud Cold City 1. How can you not know? Long Yu roared. This golden dragon was of the same race as him, so it was not stressed when it roared. I was still young at that time. I picked up the emperor in the clan, so I don't know who its parents were. The first elder said very honestly with an innocent face. Oh, is that so? That's no wonder. Long Yu sighed softly. Then he looked at Long Hao with slight heartache in his eyes. Alas, poor child, it actually didn't even know who its parents were. However, it was okay. He would definitely take good care of it in the future. Master, I want to go back, Long Hao said to Lung Ruhan fearfully. The old dragon's gaze made its hair stand on end. It now regarded the old dragon with ambiguous eyes as a strange uncle. Okay. Lung Ruhan nodded helplessly, and then stored his frightened beast back into the beast pet space. I've decided. Long Yu looked at the disappearing Long Hao and said loudly. What have you decided? Feng Zhan asked in puzzlement. Well, the dragons were a little out of line, acting as they pleased. I've decided to acknowledge him as my master. Long Yu pointed his huge paw at Lung Ruhan. Old man, you just said that you want recognize humans as your masters. Feng Zhan said mockingly. Times change. That was just now. I want to acknowledge you as my master now. Long Yu said nonchalantly. Well, he had to take good care of the future emperor of the dragon race. Big brother, are you sure? The other dragons beside Long Yu couldn't help asking softly. Of course I'm sure. Do you think it's easy for the dragon race to produce a purple gold dragon emperor? Long Yu said excitedly. All right, well listen to Big Brother, the dragons said. Old Long, you can recognize my brother as your master, but if the other dragons want to recognize you as their master, they can only look for others, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Well, her brother couldn't take in so many dragons at once. Yes, it's their own business which master they want to recognize. I won't interfere, Long Yu said very openly. He directly recognized the master and signed a soul contract after speaking. The other old dragons each found a pleasing master and signed a contract seeing that Long Yu had already acknowledged them as his masters. However, what puzzled Lung Ruoxue was that not a single old dragon wanted to acknowledge her as their master. What was going on? She couldn't understand. Say, why don't any of you old farts recognize my master? Feng Zhan asked Lung Ruoxue's question. TCH, we don't want to be your master, the dragons said in unison. That's good. I don't want to be the same master as you stupid dragons either. Feng Zhan retaliated nonchalantly. Damn old phoenix. Who did you say is a stupid dragon? Long Ye's temper rose again. Both sides glared at each other, about to start fighting again at any moment. Fight quickly. We can leave this place after fighting, Lung Ruoxue urged. Well, they couldn't intervene since both sides were considered their beasts. With this in mind, she left the battle circle with her subordinates. Lass, we won't fight anymore, Feng Zhan said hurriedly. Then he secretly glared at Long Yu. Damn old thing, its claws were really heavy just now. It had lost a lot of feathers. It would definitely become a bald bird if it continued fighting. Yes. We won't fight anymore, Long Yu said hurriedly. The dragon scales on its body were still in pain. Both sides would really suffer if they continued fighting. Are you sure? Lung Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and asked lightly. If you have problems with this website, Please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Yes, yes. The old dragons and the old phoenix nodded in unison. All right. Hurry up and pack your things since we're not fighting anymore. We'll leave this place later, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Yes, Long Yu and the other dragons said. They had long seen that their masters followed this girl's lead, so her words were more effective than their masters. The dragons nodded slightly at their masters, and then flew back to the dragon race's territory. Fengzhan and the other old phoenixes also returned to their transmogrification form. Alas! The old phoenixes sighed as they looked at the feathers that fell to the ground. Lung Ruoxue looked at the resentful old phoenixes with some amusement. She took out a bottle of pills from the bracelet and threw it to Fengzhan. After Fengzhan took the pills, he hurriedly opened the bottle stopper and ate one. Then he distributed one pill to the other phoenixes each. The remaining pills in the bottle were privately taken by it. This pill was good stuff. Before long, Long Yu and the other dragons returned with their things packed, and behind them were the juniors of the dragon race. Long Yu, are they leaving with us too? Lung Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. Yes. Long Yu answered matter-of-factly. Could he leave his juniors here since his ancestors had left? He was worried. Well, they can follow me if they want, but I can't afford to raise them. They have to pay for their living expenses. Lung Ruoxue said as a difficult matter. Living expenses? How much do we have to pay? Long Yu frowned and asked. Why were humans so greedy? Their dragon race was very poor. Swear, don't make things difficult for them. They don't look like they are rich. Why don't you let them work for you? Lung Ruhen pleaded. Xyo. Alright then. You can work to repay your debts for Big Brother's sake. Lung Ruoxue said very generously. Thank you, Miss Lung. The dragon patriarch and first elder said very gratefully. Fortunately, they were willing to take them in. Fengzhan, who was watching the commotion by the side, couldn't help laughing secretly in his heart when he saw the grateful expressions of the dragons. These stupid dragons. He would probably have to count the money for them if he was sold by the girl. Lung Ruoxue glared at Fengzhan. Then, with a thought, she stored the dragons and old phoenixes that did not recognize her in the bracelet. Where are our clansmen? Long Yu was surprised to see his junior suddenly disappear. I put them away. I can't let them wander the streets. Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Chapter 772 Proud Cold City 2. Where did you put them? Long Ye's face was full of curiosity, but he couldn't help thinking in his heart, how big must the beast pet equipment be to be able to store so many dragons? In a space, Lung Ruoxue explained simply. Oh, master, bring us into the beast pet space too. Long Yu requested. Okay. Lung Ruhen nodded, and then stored Long Yu away. Fengda and the others also stored their dragons in the beast pet space. Let's go. Lung Ruoxue pulled the freak to sit on the little peacock's back after speaking. The others hurriedly sat up, and then the little peacock flew them out of the empty dragon race territory. Suddenly stopped and stared forward with its big watery eyes in confusion. Little peacock, why did you stop? Lung Ruoxue felt the little peacock's abnormality and asked in puzzlement. Miss, we've arrived at Black Mist Cliff. However, the thick fog and the poisonous gas have all disappeared. The little peacock reported. Oh, then let's fly there directly. Lung Ruoxue ordered. Yes, the little peacock answered and then flew directly over Black Mist Cliff. 3 days later, the little peacock brought Lung Ruoxue and the others to Shadow City again. After Lung Ruoxue and the others entered the Shadow City, they went directly to the shop they had transacted last time, planning to purchase some herbs and refining materials. The waiter immediately recognized them and welcomed them warmly as soon as they entered the shop. Miss Lung, welcome. Are there any more herbs? Lung Ruoxue asked bluntly. Yes. A new batch just happened to arrive. Miss Lung, please wait for a moment. I'll go get it now, the waiter said hurriedly and then turned to leave. However, he was not going to the warehouse but the Shadow League's camp. Swear, could it be that the little waiter went to call for help? Empty teased with a light smile. Why are we calling for thugs? We didn't do anything bad, Lung Ruoxue said innocently. She wouldn't have come here again if it weren't for the sake of purchasing herbs and equipment materials. Haha. Empty smiled and didn't say anything. Soon the waiter returned. However, two people appeared beside him. One was Yu Tian, and they knew the other. Haha. Miss Lung, long time no see. How have you been? Yu Tian said with a face full of smiles. Alas! This little ancestor finally walked into the trap. Otherwise, he really didn't know when he would be able to find her traces. He didn't know where she had hidden these 2 years. He almost turned the entire boundless heaven continent upside down, but he actually couldn't find her. Very good. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Miss Lung, do you want to purchase herbs? Yu Tian tried to make conversation. Well, Lung Ruoxue's attitude was really lukewarm, making him helpless. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Miss Lung, what's your current strength? Yu Tian asked very curiously. Didn't you see it? Great mystic. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Yu Tian was depressed. However, he couldn't force her to tell him if she didn't want to tell him. Moreover, he had to force her. Are the herbs ready? Lung Ruoxue didn't want to start a conversation, so she asked directly because she really didn't know what to talk about with Yu Tian. After all, she was not familiar with the Shadow League in her eyes. Yes. Miss Lung, please take a look. Yu Tian gave the waiter a look, and the waiter took off the ring on his hand and handed it to Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue took the ring and sent her divine sense in to look at the herbs inside. Then she said directly, Butler Yu, I want all these herbs. State a price. I also ordered someone to prepare some refining materials for Miss Lung. 100 million purple coins will do. Butler Yu said with a smile. Are you sure? Lung Ruoxue took the other storage ring from the waiter and probed it with her divine sense. Yes, we let Miss Lung down last time, so our Shadow Alliance decided to sell this deal to Miss Lung at the cost price. Yu Tian said honestly. You didn't do anything wrong to me. We're just on different sides, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Then she continued. I don't want to take advantage of you. State a real price. She really didn't dare to take advantage of him, especially since the target was the Shadow League. Miss Lung, we are very sincere, Yu Tian explained. Butler Yu, the volume of transactions this time is about the same as last time, but the quality is better, so we'll pay 50 million more purple coins than last time. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Alas. All right then. Yu Tian was a little helpless. However, he had no choice if they didn't appreciate their goodwill. Thinking of this, he hated those stubborn old things again. Now after the transaction, Lung Ruoxue was about to leave with everyone when she was stopped at the door. Lung Ruoxue, stop right there. Lung Wudi roared angrily. He didn't expect this damn little thing to pretend not to know him. It was really infuriating. What's the matter? Lung Ruoxue turned around helplessly, but she was complaining in her heart. Couldn't the mighty young master of the Lung family pretend not to know a small character like her? She really didn't want to have anything to do with the Lung family, especially after meeting the top-grade siblings last time. This thought was even stronger. Why are you pretending not to know me? Lung Wudi questioned angrily. Oh, I'm sorry. You look a little familiar, but I really don't remember who you are. Lung Ruoxue lied through her teeth. You. Lung Wudi was so angry that he couldn't say anything. However, he was 100% sure that this innocent-looking girl did it on purpose. Lung Wudi took a few deep breaths to calm his depressed mood. Then he said, Someone wants to see you. Chapter 773 Proud Cold City 3. See me? Do I know him? Lung Ruoxue blinked her beautiful watery eyes and asked curiously. Probably not. Lung Wudi said uncertainly after some thought. Oh, I won't see you then. Grandpa said not to meet strangers. Lung Ruoxue said obediently. Darling granddaughter. You wronged me again. When did I say such things? Lung Qingtian, who was innocently shot, looked at his granddaughter resentfully, feeling depressed. He's not a stranger. Lung Wudi was angry. Anyone I don't know is considered a stranger. Lung Ruoxue said matter-of-factly. Then she gave her subordinates a look, and everyone left tacitly. Lung Wuti hurriedly followed. Half a month later, in an uninhabited forest, Lung Ruoxia's beautiful face was full of depression as she glared at the innocent Lung Wuti and asked helplessly, "Young Master Lung, how long do you want to follow me for?" She had been depressed for the past half a month, because Lung Wuti would follow them wherever they went. She found it strange that she couldn't shake him off. He might not be able to keep up with Feng Wu, but he would appear by their side in a few hours. "I will always follow you unless you return to the Lung family with me," Lung Wuti said fearlessly. "The Lung family is powerful and influential. A small character like me is really not suitable to appear." Lung Ruoxia declined very implicitly, even though it had been countless times. "You are a small character? Then wouldn't I be inferior to even dust?" Lung Wuti said with self-ridicule. In the boundless heaven continent now, whoever dared to think that Lung Ruoxia was an unknown small character? He was the first to be anxious with that person. Alas, compared to Lung Ruoxia and the others, he was probably that small character. How can that be? "You are the young master of the Lung family, one of the three major families," Lung Ruoxia said very seriously. "Lung Ruoxia, there are no outsiders here anyway. Why don't you kill me to silence me? Otherwise I definitely won't give up," Lung Wuti said very resolutely. "Swear, let's go since young Master Lung insists on us going back with him." Lung Qingtian couldn't take it anymore and sighed helplessly. "Swear, your grandfather agreed." Lung Wuti said casually, "All right." Lung Ruoxia nodded helplessly. After all, it was not good for Lung Wuti to keep pestering them like this. "Let's go now," Lung Wuti said impatiently. How could he still have the composed image of a noble young master with his anxious appearance now? To be precise, his good image had long disappeared in front of Lung Ruoxia and the others. "What's the rush? We just had lunch," Lung Ruoxia said speechlessly. "All right then," Lung Wuti answered softly. Boo. He really didn't have any status as the young master of the Lung family in front of these people. Soon, Lung Ruoxia and the others finished their meal and reluctantly followed Lung Wuti to the main city of the Lung family, Proud Cold City. They finally arrived at their destination after flying for nearly 10 days. Standing outside the tall and grand city walls of Proud Cold City, Lung Wuti asked with a face full of pride, "How is it? Our Lung family's main city is not bad, right?" If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. SOSO. Lung Ruoxia said without giving him any face. "You'll know that it's extraordinary once you enter," Lung Wuti said mentally prepared. "Oh. Then let's go in quickly." "I'm sleepy," Lung Ruoxia urged. "Let's go in," Lung Wuti said helplessly. Alas, he had been pestering them for nearly a month and had more or less understood Lung Ruoxia's habits, so he was already used to it. "Okay." Lung Ruoxia and the others nodded, and then entered Proud Cold City with Lung Wuti. Proud Cold City was very prosperous. People came and went on the streets. Moreover, pedestrians greeted Lung Wuti very warmly when they saw him, and his signature smile hung on Lung Wuti's beautiful face. What a two-faced person. Lung Ruoxia looked at Lung Wuti and murmured softly. This fellow was a scoundrel in front of them, but in front of these citizens he was so gentle, noble, and perfect. "In Proud Cold City, my every move represents the Lung family." Lung Wuti smiled bitterly after hearing Lung Ruoxia's words. "Ooh, it was so easy to be a young master." "I know. Find us a inn," Lung Ruoxia reminded. "No need. I've already arranged your residence," Lung Wuti said proudly. "I don't live in the Lung family," Lung Ruoxia said. "Okay." Lung Wuti nodded and then brought Lung Ruoxia and the others to a yard. Lung Ruoxia looked up at the plaque outside the yard. There were 2 words engraved on it, Plum Garden. After entering the plum garden, Lung Ruoxia was surprised to find that this plum garden was indeed as its name suggested. It was planted with all sorts of plum blossoms, and the air in the yard was even suffused with the fragrance of the plum blossoms. Not only that, every building in the garden was exquisite to the point of breathtaking, absolutely worthy of being called a work of art. "Are you satisfied with this place?" Lung Wuti asked calmly as he looked at the expressions of Lung Ruoxia and the others. "It's okay," Lung Ruoxue replied softly. For some reason, looking at the grass, wood scenery, and things here made her feel a sense of déjà vu. Was this too strange? It's good that you're satisfied. Have a good rest today. I'll visit you tomorrow, Lung Wudi said very thoughtfully. After speaking, he was about to leave when he heard a familiar voice outside the door. Chapter 770 for the Grand Elder, 1. Third brother, did you forget that the plum garden is not for anyone to stay in? Lung Rume questioned with a face full of anger. She unintentionally saw third brother bringing a group of people she didn't know back to proud Cold City on the streets today. So she followed secretly curiously. However, she didn't expect third brother to actually bring those people to the plum garden. Plum garden. That was the Lung family's best side yard, but it had always been uninhabited. Moreover, when she happened to break through to Great Mystic on her 20th birthday, she wanted to take the opportunity to ask the patriarch's father for it, who knew that her father actually didn't agree to her request, and even lied to her that the plum garden couldn't decide. So her father was biased, and left the plum garden to her third brother. Thinking of this, she felt hatred in her heart. The plum garden had the word May, and her name had the word May. How suitable was it for her? However, she was now letting a group of outsiders stay. How could she choke down this anger? This is my business. You don't have to worry about it, Lung Wudi said impatiently. Then he dragged Lung Rume out of the plum garden. After Lung Wudi dragged Lung Rume away, Lung Qingtian looked at the scenery of the plum garden and sighed. Swear, it seems like the Lung family isn't very peaceful either. Grandpa, it's not strange for scheming in big families. It will naturally happen when there are many wives and children. Don't worry too much. We won't stay here for long, Lung Ruoxue comforted. Okay, Fengda, find your own rooms to stay in, Lung Qingtian ordered, and then wandered around the plum garden alone. Lung Ruoxue, Ruhan, and the freak had been following behind him worriedly. Alas! Grandpa misses the Lingfeng continent's home again, Lung Ruhan said in realization. Ah, I remember now. Big brother, don't you think that some of the decoration methods here are similar to our home in the Lingfeng continent? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking. No wonder she felt that there was a sense of familiarity here. It turned out that some of the decorations in this plum garden were in the same direction as their original home. However, the decorations were different. Moreover, she clearly felt the aura of refinement from these decorations, and this yard full of blooming plum blossoms must have used special means. Otherwise, it would be impossible to bloom so luxuriously in this season. Yes, and I seem to have seen in some of the family's records that a certain ancestor of our Lung family liked plum blossoms very much. However, our home in the Lingfeng continent had been repaired several times, so the original plum tree had long disappeared, Lung Ruhan explained. Lung Qingtian had already strode to the three of them and asked loudly, Brats, why are you following me? Grandpa, we didn't follow you. We were also admiring the spring sunshine in the plum garden, Lung Ruoxue said as if nothing had happened. Yes, Grandpa, we're also admiring the scenery. Lung Ruhan's handsome and invincible face blushed as he explained softly. Oh, Lung Qingtian finally turned his gaze to the freak and looked at him indifferently without saying anything. Grandpa, I'll accompany Swear, the freak hurriedly explained. Oh Swear, are you done admiring the spring sunshine of the plum garden? Lung Qingtian asked with a smile. Okay, the three of them answered softly. Do you feel anything? Lung Qingtian asked expectantly. No, the scenery is beautiful, Lung Ruoxue interrupted. What else? Gone. How can it be gone? I vaguely heard someone say that this place is a little familiar just now. Lung Qingtian was a little angry. Grandpa, I didn't say that, Lung Ruoxue quickly denied. Me neither. Lung Ruhan and the freak quickly denied it. Don't worry, I won't be affected. There is indeed a shadow of our family here, Lung Qingtian said lightly. He didn't know about his grandchildren, but he remembered them very clearly. However, he also knew that this didn't mean anything. After all, this was the Lung family's property. Grandpa, don't think too much. Let's take things as they come. With our current strength, there's absolutely no one who can force us, So let nature take its course, Lung Ruoxua comforted. In fact, she had already guessed that it was most likely someone related to the Ling Feng continent from the moment Lung Wudi said that someone wanted to see them. She might not want to see him, but she couldn't avoid Lung Wudi's pestering. However, if that person looked pleasing to the eye, there was no harm in dating him. If that person wanted to have any bad ideas, then don't blame her for being heartless. Yes, Schwer is right. Since we're here, let's take it easy. Let's go get some food and then rest early to recover, so that we can deal with the Lung family. Lung Qingtian said with a face full of relief. With that, the grandfather and granddaughter came to the garden together, and Fengda and the others had already prepared food. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Everyone returned to their rooms to rest after dinner. At the Lung family's residence. The Lung family's main residence was located in the south of Proud Cold City. Moreover, the entire south belonged to the Lung family's territory. Outsiders were not allowed to step foot here, unless they obtained permission. Lung Wudi dragged his half-sister back to the main mansion, and went directly to the forbidden area in the back mountain. Lung Rume naturally went to complain to the patriarch's father, Lung Yimin, who loved her the most. Lung Rume heard that her father was in the meeting hall, and ran directly here. However, she was stopped by the guards outside the door. I'm sorry, eldest Mississippi. The patriarch is having a meeting with the elders. You can't enter. The guard said coldly and politely. How dare you? Do you know who I am? How dare you stop me? Lung Rumai's temper rose. She had a belly full of anger at Lung Wudi just now but had nowhere to vent it. Now, she was stopped by a small guard, so the fire on her body ignited. You are not allowed to enter even if you are the most favored eldest daughter of the Lung family, the guard said coldly. How dare you? Guards, arrest him. Lung Rume roared and ordered the other two guards. Eldest miss, please forgive us. This is our duty. The other two guards replied, neither servile nor overbearing. Chapter 775 The Grand Elder, 2. Lung Rume was about to teach the three guards a lesson when the door of the meeting hall was suddenly opened, and the Lung family's head butler walked out. Eldest miss, the patriarch invites you in. The Lung family's head butler's cold voice drifted into Lung Rumai's ears. Got it. Thank you, head butler. Wait for me. Lung Rume thanked the head butler with a smile on her face. Then she glared fiercely at the three guards and swaggered into the conference room. In the conference room, the patriarch of the Lung family, Lung Yimin, was sitting in the main seat. Sitting beside him was a man who looked to be in his early 30s. This man might be handsome and had an extraordinary temperament, but he did not have the slightest smile on his face. Compared to him, Lung Yimin looked slightly older. He might be equally handsome, but his bearing could not be compared to that man. However, the two of them were mystic supremacies. The other elders of the Lung family sat below them. Lung Rume saw her father staring at her with a black face after entering the meeting hall. However, it was not like she had never barged into the meeting hall before, so she was really not afraid. Anyway, her father would at most pretend to scold her, and would not do anything to her. Rume, don't you know that I'm discussing something with the elders? You're really becoming more and more unruly. Lung Yimin questioned very sternly. However, the elders sitting there knew very well that the patriarch loved this daughter very much. This was just for them to see, and they naturally wouldn't harp on such a small matter. I'm sorry, father. I really have something important to do, so I was a little anxious. Lung Rume said with a face full of regret. She didn't have the arrogant and domineering appearance from before at all. What's the matter? Lung Yimin asked curiously, his face looking much better. Father, third brother actually let outsiders stay in the plum garden. I wanted to stop him, but I was scolded by him. Lung Rume said aggrievedly, tears flashing in her beautiful eyes. Really? Lung Yimin said doubtfully. Well, he knew his son very well. Wudi shouldn't be so ignorant of the severity of the matter. Thinking of this, he couldn't help sneaking a look at the man beside him. However, he was slightly relieved seeing that the man's expression was still as usual. Father, third brother gave the plum garden to outsiders without the permission of the family. I wonder if he will be punished? Lung Rume asked curiously. Eldest miss, even though this was done by the young master, we have to ask the young master before we know what happened, so the patriarch can't answer this question of yours now, an elder said. Third elder, you can't say that. Eldest miss only asks because she cares about the family. An old man with a wrinkled face said lightly. Does the 10th elder mean that we will be convicted of the young master's crime if we listen to eldest miss one-sided words? Don't forget that the plum garden isn't under our jurisdiction. The third elder caressed his beard and said nonchalantly. Who said that the plum garden isn't under our jurisdiction? The plum garden also belongs to our Lung family. We are duty-bound to everything that belongs to the Lung family. The 10th elder said indignantly, obviously implying that the third elder didn't care about the Lung family's affairs. Then feel free to slack off. I'll make it clear first that I don't care about this matter, third elder said with a cold smile. He looked at the 10th elder as if he was watching a joke. Then he stood up, bowed to Lung Yimin, and said, Patriarch, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. With that, he rolled up his sleeves and left the meeting hall. The other elders present also stood up and left one after another, obviously not wanting to get involved in this muddy water. Father, how can the elders be so irresponsible? Lung Rume couldn't help complaining as she watched the elders of the Lung family leave. Shut up. How can a junior like you criticize the elders? Lung Yimin glared at Lung Rume and said with displeasure. Alas! It seemed like he really spoiled this only daughter of his. She actually developed her temperament that didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Rume, are the people brought by Woody staying in the plum garden now? The man beside Lung Yimin asked leisurely with an indescribable expression on his face. Yes, Lung Rume answered carefully, but she was a little nervous because she was very afraid of this man. For some reason, she was just afraid. He might be younger and more handsome than any elder in the Lung family, but she knew very well that it was okay to offend the other elders. Her father would help her settle it, but she absolutely could not offend this mysterious grand elder. Oh, I really want to see what kind of person he is. The man's voice was very soft, but everyone present heard it very clearly. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Supreme Elder, Rume is willing to lead the way, Lung Rume volunteered. Wouldn't she be overjoyed if she could get the Supreme Elder to deal with those people? She couldn't help being a little smug thinking of this. Okay, Rume, lead the way. The man stood up and said to everyone, You don't have to follow. After hearing this, Lung Yimin, the 10th elder, and the others who had just stood up, had to sit down again. Lung Yimin and the remaining elders left the meeting hall after the man left with Lung Rume. At the same time, Lung Woody had already left the back mountain. Then he turned around to see his grandfather. His grandfather had passed the position of the patriarch to his father 2 years ago, but his grandfather's prestige in the family was still not something that his father could replace. Ever since his grandfather left the heavy responsibility of being the patriarch, he chose a relatively small side yard for cultivation. Moreover, no one dared to disturb his grandfather's cultivation except for him, and a few elders who were on good terms with his grandfather. Lung Woody arrived at the side yard. He heard his grandfather's hearty laughter as soon as he walked in. He couldn't help taking a few steps forward, and came in front of his grandfather with a light smile. Grandpa, what's the matter? Haha, you're going to be unlucky. Lung Jingmu laughed happily. Grandpa, your precious grandson is going to be unlucky. Are you that happy? Lung Woody pretended to be sad, and then greeted the third elder, who was sitting opposite his grandfather. Chapter 776 The Grand Elder 3. Haha, of course I'm happy. You have no idea how bored I am staying here every day, Lung Jingmu complained, his handsome face full of bitterness. Grandpa, you were the one who said you wanted to cultivate quietly. Now you find it boring, Lung Woody said speechlessly. Alas, he was really becoming more and more willful since Grandpa stopped being the patriarch. Cultivation is very boring. Brat, tell Grandpa why you brought your friend to live in the plum garden. That place is not open to the public. Don't tell me you don't know that even people from our Lung family are not allowed to stay there? Lung Jingmu asked doubtfully. If would he not know his grandson? This boy had been cautious since he was young, and it was impossible for him to make such a low-level mistake. Therefore, if anyone wanted to see his most beloved grandson make a fool of himself, that would really be a mistake. Grandpa, how did you know about this? Did Rume complain? Lung Wudi guessed. He knew that Rume would definitely complain, but he didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Okay. Lung Jingmu nodded. Young master, I saw Lung Rume bringing the Grand Elder to the plum garden. You better think of a good excuse. Otherwise, no one can help you if the Grand Elder becomes angry. Third Elder reminded worriedly. He saw that the Grand Elder had no reaction in the meeting hall just now and thought that the Grand Elder would ask for the reason. However, he didn't expect the old man to actually go to the plum garden personally, which couldn't help making him nervous. Oh, it's okay. The Grand Elder won't blame me, Lung Wudi said with certainty. Wudi, are you that confident? The curiosity on Lung Jingma's face became stronger. Yes, the people I brought should be from the Lung family from the Lingfeng continent, Lung Wudi said after some thought. He didn't intend to hide this matter from his grandfather anyway. Are you sure? We've lost contact for so long. I really didn't expect there to be someone from the Lung family there, Lung Jingmu said with a face full of surprise. Patriarch, what are you talking about? Third Elder's face was full of question marks. Third Elder, I told you not to call me Patriarch anymore. Well, it's like this. The ancestor of the Lung family once left a trace of his bloodline on the Lingfeng continent. However, not many people know about this. Moreover, no one has been able to come to our place for thousands of years, so we've always thought that there were no more Lung family there, Lung Jingmu explained simply. Oh, since they are also from the Lung family, the Supreme Elder shouldn't make things difficult for them, right? Third Elder said uncertainly. No, the Grand Elder should treat them well because the Grand Elder is also from the Lingfeng continent, Lung Jingmu explained, relieved. Ah, the Grand Elder also came up from below? Third Elder said in surprise. He only knew that the Grand Elder was very mysterious and liked to be alone, but he didn't know that the Grand Elder was actually from the Lingfeng continent. Third Elder, what's there to be surprised about? In fact, all the ancestors of our Lung family came from the Lingfeng continent. However, after staying in this world for a long time, many clansmen thought that they were born and raised. In fact, to be precise, our roots are all in the Lingfeng continent, Lung Jingmu said thoughtfully. Okay. Third Elder nodded in agreement. However, he knew that the younger generation of the clan would definitely not like to hear such words. After all, in everyone's eyes, the Lingfeng continent's level was lower than the Boundless Heaven continent. Wudi, arrange for some people to protect and take care of them since they are staying in the plum garden. Don't let them think that we are rude, Lung Qingmu ordered. Grandpa, there's no need. Let's not let anyone disturb them. Lung Wudi refused directly without thinking because he knew that Lung Ruoxua would not use it even if he sent people. Moreover, she had many subordinates, so he didn't need to do anything unnecessary. How can that do? We have to treat the Grand Elder well on account of him. Otherwise, no one can bear his anger unless we invite the old ancestors, Third Elder said hurriedly. Wudi, Third Elder is right, Lung Jingmu echoed. Grandpa, I understand them. There's really no need, Lung Wudi said helplessly. Alas. All right then. You brought her back anyway. Do as you deem fit. Lung Jingmu rudely became an arm-flinging shopkeeper. He was not the patriarch now. He naturally didn't have to worry about these things. Okay. Lung Wudi nodded. Then he chatted with his grandfather for a while and left the side yard. Outside the plum garden, the man stood outside the yard and looked for a long time, deep in thought. Grand Elder, shall we go in? Lung Rume couldn't help asking after waiting for a long time, and seeing that the Grand Elder didn't say anything. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Yes. The man nodded. Then Lung Rume pushed open the door of the plum garden and walked in, with the man following behind her. With the support of the Grand Elder, Lung Rume walked vigorously. After entering the plum garden, she brought the Grand Elder straight to the main yard because she guessed that those people would choose to rest in the main yard. After all, the rooms there were the best in the plum garden. Unfortunately, she was wrong. Lung Ruoxue and the others didn't choose to stay in the main yard at all, so she had to bring the Grand Elder around the yard to search. Finally, she found their traces in the yard closest to the garden. Grand Elder, it's them. Lung Rume pointed at Lung Ruhan and Empty, who were drinking tea on a stone bench in the yard. The Grand Elder didn't say anything, and just kept looking at the two handsome men in front of him. These two men could be described as dragons among men, and one of them actually looked a little familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen him before. As for the other, he could sense a trace of bloodline connection between the two of them, so he was immediately sure that this person should be his descendant. However, what puzzled him was that, logically speaking, the generation between them had already emerged for 5 generations, and their bloodlines should be very rare. However, the bloodline he felt from this young man was very strong. What was going on? He was really puzzled. Chapter 777 The Grand Elder 4. At this moment, Empty and Lung Ruhan were also observing this uninvited man. However, Empty continued to drink his tea calmly after taking a few glances. Lung Ruhan looked at Empty resentfully and said very reluctantly, "This is our residence now. If the two of you have anything, you have to at least knock on the door first. This is the most basic courtesy. This is our Lung family's territory. We can come and go as we please. I order you to move out immediately. This isn't a place where people like you can stay." Lung Rume roared in anger. A cold light flashed in Lung Ruhan's eyes. He gently glanced at Lung Rume and said lightly, "We are guests of the Lung family's young master. If you want to chase us out, please come personally." "That's right. Let Lung Wudi do it himself. Well, move out immediately." A cold female voice sounded in the ears of the 4 of them. Lung Rume raised her head furiously and looked in the direction of the voice. She was about to scold him when she was stunned by the drop-dead gorgeous appearance of the person who spoke. The person who spoke was naturally the extremely protective Lung Ruoxue. She was originally studying the divine pill in the bracelet, but she was told by Qingju that an uninvited guest came to visit. Therefore, she left the bracelet with the freak. However, she heard this conversation as soon as she walked out of the room, so she interrupted. Who are you?" Lung Rume questioned with raging jealousy after coming back to her senses. She kept cursing in her heart. Damn it, how could this woman be so beautiful? She originally thought that Lan Ninger was beautiful enough, but Lan Ninger was simply trash compared to the woman in front of her. At this moment, she didn't expect that if Lan Ninger was trash, then what was she? She couldn't even compare to Lan Ning. Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue smiled lightly, her beautiful eyes casually glancing at Lung Rume. Moreover, she saw through Lung Rume's nature with a single glance. This little May looked pretty, but she was also not easy to deal with. "Your surname is Lung too?" Lung Rume was stunned and asked. This was the first time she saw Lung Ruoxue's face, so it naturally gave her a greater shock. "What? Can't my surname be Lung?" Lung Ruoxue asked with a spurious smile. "Of course not. Not everyone is qualified to have the surname Lung." Lung Rume roared domineeringly. "But my old ancestor's surname is Lung. I can't change it to another surname, right? My old ancestor might have died long ago, but at least he has left the bloodline for me, so I can only use this surname. Miss Lung, please don't take it to heart," Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Moreover, the corner of her beautiful eyes obviously noticed the uncomfortable expression of the man beside Lung Rume when she said that her old ancestor might die. You can't stay in the plum garden, even if your surname is Lung. Move out of here immediately and leave Proud Cold City," Lung Rume said as if she was facing a formidable enemy. The internal competition that was held once every 10 years by the 3 families was about to begin. She definitely couldn't let this woman stay here and spoil her plans. "Miss Lung, don't you understand me? We are Lung Wudi's guests. Even if you are the young lady of the Lung family, you are not qualified to chase us away," Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. "You..." Lung Rume was about to continue when she was interrupted by the man beside her. "Rume, don't be rude," the man reprimanded lightly. "Yes, Grand Elder." Lung Rume immediately became as obedient as a kitten. Lung Ruoxue and the man glared at each other, neither of them speaking first. After a while, the man said gloomily, "Lass, you're not bad." Alas! He could tell that this girl was not afraid of him at all. Otherwise, she would not have stared at him without blinking. In the end, he could not take it and admitted defeat first. Boo! He had lived for so long, but he could not even glare at a little girl. This was really too embarrassing. However, looking at this stubborn girl, he had a premonition that their path to becoming relatives would probably be very bumpy. The grand elder of the Lung family? Lung Ruoxue murmured thoughtfully. In fact, she had noticed this man when she walked out of the room, but she deliberately ignored him. Moreover, she had guessed that this man was most likely related to the Lingfeng continent, but she didn't know if he was the one who wanted to see them. "Yes, you're from the Lingfeng continent?" the grand elder confirmed, and couldn't help being a little excited. They really didn't expect to see juniors from the Lingfeng continent. They thought that the Lung family from that continent was already gone. "Yes, we are indeed from the Lingfeng continent." Lung Ruoxue didn't deny it. In fact, she knew that she probably couldn't deny it even if she wanted to, since she came to the Lung family. "Lingfeng continent? What is that place?" Lung Rume couldn't help but interrupt. She had never heard of that place. "The Lingfeng continent is the lower realm you mentioned," Lung Ruoxue explained with a light smile. "Lower realm? So you came from a village? No wonder you're so ignorant. Let me tell you, don't think that just because your surname is Lung, you can climb onto our Lung family. Our Lung family won't raise you bumpkins for nothing." Lung Rume reminded with a face full of disdain. Lung Ruoxue was speechless after hearing Lung Rume's words. She only knew today that the Lingfeng continent was considered a countryside in their eyes. Moreover, why was she inexperienced? She didn't seem to have done anything embarrassing, right? Moreover, they weren't the ones who were coming to the Lung family. Thinking of this, she couldn't help saying indifferently, "Miss Lung, please understand something first. We didn't want to come to the Lung family. Your young master brought us here. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks." "So what? Don't think that our Lung family will accept you just because you can seduce third brother. Let me tell you, as long as I'm around, you can forget about marrying into the Lung family." Lung Rume self-righteously roared. Haha. Lung Ruoxue was so angry that she was amused. Did this eldest miss of the Lung family have a delusional disorder? She used her gaze to ask the grand elder, but he returned her an innocent look. Moreover, the expression on his face was obviously wanting to watch the commotion. "Damn it, why are you laughing?" Lung Rume questioned angrily. Chapter 778. The Elder Arrives 1. "What? You don't allow others to laugh. Miss Lung cares a lot," Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Alas! Why couldn't she meet normal daughters of noble families? Could it be that the feng shui of noble families was bad, so they were raised astray? "You're not allowed to smile in my territory." Lung Rume was furious because Lung Ruoxue's smile was really too annoying, making her very uncomfortable. "Miss Lung, are all the daughters of the Lung family like you?" Lung Ruoxue widened her beautiful eyes and looked at Lung Rume carefully, as if she was looking at a rare animal. She asked curiously, "What do you mean?" Lung Rume was stunned and puzzled. "How rude. We are guests invited by the young master of the Lung family after all. But not only do you say we are bumpkins, you don't even allow us to smile. Alas! We know that we are from a small place, so we don't dare to request you to treat us well. We just hope that those Tom, Dick, and Harry won't bother us. Can't you even satisfy this small request of ours?" Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of disappointment. "Lung Ruoxue, do you want to die? How dare you say that I have no upbringing?" Lung Rume was furious when she heard these words. She didn't listen carefully to what Lung Ruoxue said after that. "Why don't I want to live? I'm only 20 years old, and am in my prime. Moreover, I haven't pounced on my man yet. I can't let others take advantage of me for nothing, so I have to live well," Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. "Humph. You humiliated me. Do you think you can still live?" Lung Rume said proudly. She really wanted to destroy Lung Ruoxia's beautiful face. What did I humiliate you about? Did I say that you don't have a good upbringing? Lung Ruoxia said nonchalantly. Humph. I'm the eldest daughter of the Lung family. You said that I don't have a patriarch. Not only did you humiliate me, but you also humiliated the patriarch. Therefore, the Lung family will definitely not let you go. Lung Rumei said confidently. In her eyes, Lung Ruoxia was almost dead. How will the Lung family deal with me? I'm so scared. Lung Ruoxia whispered fearfully, tears rolling in her beautiful eyes. Lung Ruoxia, I can spare you on the account that your surname is Lung. However, I want you to kneel down and kowtow to me 100 times, and even destroy your appearance. Then forget about humiliating me. Lung Rumei said self-righteously. Kowtow 100 times and destroy my appearance? Miss Lung is really kind. Lung Ruoxia said mockingly. It's good that you know. If the Lung family finds out, you'll die. However, if you're willing to do as I say, I'll let you live. How about that? It's very worth it, right? Lung Rumei said with a face full of charity. Miss Lung, let me consider it. Lung Ruoxia glanced at the Grand Elder gently and said with a spurious smile. Okay, I'll give you 3 days to consider. Either you die or do as I say. Lung Rumei said as if she was being kind. Okay, Ruoxia thanks Miss Lung first. I won't see you out. Help yourself. With that, Lung Ruoxia turned around and returned to her room as if no one was around, and the freak hiding in the corner followed. Rumei, let's go back, the Grand Elder said softly to Lung Rumei when he saw that there was no more commotion to watch. A trace of disgust quickly flashed in his eyes. Yes, Lung Rumei said hurriedly, her heart jumping with joy. Hee. The Grand Elder didn't accuse her of being nosy just now. He was obviously on her side. After Ruoxia and the Grand Elder left, Lung Ruhan looked at Empty in puzzlement, as if he wanted to see some clues from his face. Are there flowers on my face? Empty said with a light smile. Lung Ruhan's affectionate gaze would cause others to misunderstand. No, I'm just a little puzzled. Aren't their reactions a little too calm? Are we going to let that woman leave just like that? Lung Ruhan said angrily. That woman was really too vicious. Not only did she want her precious sister to kowtow to her, but she also wanted to ruin her sister's beautiful face. Well, perhaps that was her main goal. Alas, a woman's jealousy was really too terrifying. What else? This is the Lung family's territory. Do you think we can walk out of proud Cold City alive if we kill their eldest young miss in the Lung family? Moreover, they were just testing each other just now. As for that Lung Rumei, she's just a clown. Schwer isn't killing her now just to accumulate more of that woman's evil deeds. When the time comes, even if the Lung family is angry, they won't do anything to us if we kill her. Because we're in the right. Empty explained. This was also what he especially admired about that girl. Not only would Schwer not let others find any fault with the person she wanted to get rid of, she would also let others think that that person deserved it. She deserved to die. But Lung Ruhan was about to say something when Empty interrupted him. You're too concerned. Think about it. Would Schwer let herself be at a disadvantage? She didn't fuss about it this time only to give those old things from the Lung family face. However, would she give face again and again? Moreover, with that woman's temperament, it's impossible not to provoke Schwer. Empty said understandingly. What you said makes sense, but I'm just too angry. It's not like I'm here specially to let the Lung family humiliate my precious sister. Lung Ruhan said in an unfriendly tone. Calm down. Schwer has her own plans. Empty said comfortingly. Yes, I know. Lung Ruhan nodded. Rest early. Perhaps the Lung family will come again tomorrow. Empty said with a smile. He should be able to watch a lot of good shows when he came to the Lung family this time. Okay. Lung Ruhan nodded, and the two returned to their rooms. Lung Ruoxia and the freak had already entered the bracelet. In the purple bamboo hut, the two of them sat in each other's arms, but neither of them spoke. After enjoying a moment of silence, the freak smiled and asked, Schwer, are you afraid of the Lung family? No. Lung Ruoxia said very simply. The Lung family might be an unshakable colossus in the eyes of others, But if she wanted to attack, she would also make the Lung family suffer. Then why did you let Lung Rume go just now? The freak pretended to be puzzled. His eyes glittered coldly, and a trace of bloodthirsty killing intent flashed quickly. Chapter 779. The Elder arrives too. I was prepared to meet such a person since I came to the Lung family, so it's only a matter of time before I kill him. Moreover, I want to see the Lung family's attitude. After all, Lung Rume doesn't represent the entire Lung family, Lung Ruoxua explained. Schwer, I'm afraid that the Grand Elder is also waiting to see our attitude, the freak reminded. Yes, that's normal. He has to know if our descendants are worth his investment. Lung Ruoxua said understandingly. Freak, rest early. We have to recover and prepare to deal with the endless Lung family. Lung Ruoxua reminded again. Okay. The freak nodded, and then the two of them hugged each other to sleep. Early the next morning, Lung Wudi reported to Plum Garden. Lung Ruoxua was a little speechless as she looked at Lung Wudi, who was waiting for them in the living room. Young Master Lung, you're a little too early. Lung Ruoxua rolled her eyes. Yes, I specially came early to have breakfast with you, Lung Wudi said pompously. I'm sorry young Master Lung didn't prepare breakfast, Lung Ruoxua said rudely. No way. Schwer, can you bear to let me starve? Lung Wudi said with a long face, his handsome face full of bitterness. I can bear to. You're not related to me. What does hunger have to do with me? However, what's with your expression? Could it be that something happened to a relative in the family? Lung Ruoxua said very implicitly, her words a little venomous. You're so heartless. Alas. Nothing has happened to anyone in my family yet, but it should be soon. Lung Wudi said nonchalantly, as if they were discussing other people's affairs. What did you talk about when Lung Rume and the Grand Elder came yesterday? Lung Wudi asked curiously. Nothing. I had an unhappy encounter with Miss Lung. She asked me to kowtow 100 times and destroy my appearance. Otherwise, she said that the Lung family won't let me go. Lung Ruoxua described simply. Haha. Lung Wudi was stunned, but he couldn't help laughing hysterically. He was laughing so happily that he almost rolled on the ground. Is it that funny? Lung Ruoxua sighed and asked Lung Wudi, who was laughing exaggeratedly. Yes, of course. Did she say that in front of the Grand Elder? Lung Wudi was very curious. Yes, I said it in front of that old man, but he didn't react. Lung Ruoxua added in her heart, purely wanting to see him make a fool of himself. Hee. She's dead meat too. Lung Wudi said happily, unable to hide the joy on his face. Isn't that your sister? Lung Ruoxua reminded helplessly. My mother only gave birth to me. Lung Wudi said with slight disgust. He might pretend to be siblings in front of others, but he felt that it was unnecessary in front of Lung Ruoxua and the others. Her mother still doesn't have a title. And my mother isn't willing to raise them, so they wouldn't have any status in the Lung family at all if my father didn't love them more. Lung Wudi explained. Are the children already so old? Isn't your father willing to give a name to the person who gave birth to them? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. He wants to give it, but my mother and grandfather don't agree, so he can't do anything. However, he's already the patriarch now, so he should give that woman a title. Lung Wudi guessed. Oh. Lung Ruoxua answered lightly and then said to Lung Wudi, go have breakfast. Lung Wudi immediately stood up with a smile, and followed Lung Ruoxua to the dining hall. Someone from the Lung family came to visit just after breakfast. In the garden, Lung Ruoxua looked at the beautiful woman in her early 30s. Her first impression of her was very good. Well, this woman was very beautiful. However, it was not the kind of beauty that was breathtaking at a glance, but like mellow wine, the more she tasted, the more fragrant she became. Moreover, this woman was also a mystic sovereign like her. I'm Lung Shuang, Wudi's mother. The woman named Lung Shuang introduced herself. Her beautiful eyes kept circling Lung Ruoxua. Moreover, the more she looked, the more satisfied she was. Well, this girl was not bad. Wudi had good taste. I'm Lung Ruoxua. Well, you should be older than me. I'll call you big sister. Lung Ruoxua said with a fox-like smile on her face. Well, This woman's gaze at her was becoming more and more fervent, and she had to be wary. Big sister. Leng Shuang was stunned and a little depressed. This seniority was too poor. May I know why big sister is here? Leng Ruoxue asked bluntly. Oh, to see me, of course, to see you. Leng Shuang originally wanted to say that she wanted to see her daughter-in-law, but she was afraid of scaring the little girl. So she quickly corrected herself. I heard from Leng Rume that you are invincible. Leng Shuang probed. She deliberately stopped mid-sentence because she really couldn't read this little girl's mind now. This girl probably didn't treat Wuxia as she thought. Big sister. How can I believe the words of the eldest daughter of the Leng family? She wants me to destroy my appearance and kowtow 100 times. Moreover, she only gave me 3 days to consider, Leng Ruoxue complained. There's such a thing? Why? Leng Shuang was a little puzzled and couldn't help hating in her heart. Leng Rume was indeed like her mother, both vicious. Because I said that she doesn't have a good upbringing. She wants to chase us away and even said that we are bumpkins. Leng Ruoxue explained, her beautiful face full of grievance. Hee. She knew how to act too, and she was definitely better at it than Leng Rume. She indeed doesn't have any upbringing. Don't be afraid. She won't dare to do anything to you with me around, Leng Shuang promised. For some reason, she liked Leng Ruoxue the moment she saw her, so she naturally resembled her. Big sister, I'm afraid I'll accidentally do something to her. Leng Ruoxue said innocently. Haha. That's okay. I'm here. Leng Shuang was stunned, and then she said with a smile, haha. This girl really won my heart. Chapter 780. The Elder Arrives 3. Okay, I'm relieved, Leng Ruoxue said with a sigh of relief. Lass, is there really nothing between you and Wuxia? Leng Shuang asked stubbornly. Alas. How good would it be if this girl could be her daughter-in-law? Big sister, I already have a fiancé, Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. She could feel that this woman liked her, and she had a good impression of Leng Shuang, so she naturally told the truth to put an end to Leng Shuang's thoughts. Alas. That's a pity. In that case, I'll acknowledge you as my god-sister. Leng Shuang said after some thought. This girl might be much younger than her, but she just found her pleasing to the eye. Moreover, she couldn't say that she wanted to acknowledge her as her god-sister since she was calling her elder sister. Therefore, it was more suitable to be her god-sister. Then I'll acknowledge you as my elder sister, Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Well, the fate between people was so strange. She and Leng Shuang felt like old friends at first sight, even though it was their first time meeting. Moreover, she knew very well that Leng Shuang recognized her as her sister, and had the idea of being her backer. Therefore, she couldn't refuse Leng Shuang's good intentions or the good feelings between the two of them. Good sister. Alas. I've wanted a sister since I was young so that I could dote on her well. I finally have one today. Leng Shuang said happily, the joy on her face absolutely coming from the bottom of her heart. Mother, how can you treat her as your sister? Leng Ruoxue and Leng Shuang were chatting happily. Leng Wuxia, who was hiding in the dark and eavesdropping, couldn't help but jump out. Ooh. He was only stunned for a moment, but an ant actually ran out. This was really. He was about to go crazy. Why can't I acknowledge her as my sister? Leng Shuang asked in puzzlement. Well, she really didn't know why her son had such a big reaction when she only acknowledged her as a sister. She was originally my friend. Now that you've acknowledged her as your sister, what should I call her? Leng Wuxia asked through gritted teeth, his face red. Well, of course he was angry. We acknowledge us. It has nothing to do with you. We are still friends. However, I won't object if you want to call me aunt, Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. You don't even think about it. Leng Wuxia glared and shouted. He wouldn't call that little girl his aunt. He wouldn't even call her that. Haha. Leng Wuxia's strong reaction couldn't help making the two very unscrupulous women laugh happily. In fact, they knew very well that this was only between the two of them and had nothing to do with their relatives, so they naturally didn't expect such a reaction from their families. Silly boy, we'll hand ours over, and you'll hand yours over. The well water doesn't flow like the river, Leng Shuang said with a smile. Oh, Lung Wudi answered gloomily, thinking that was more like it. However, he remembered his reaction just now and wanted to find a hole to burrow into. Ooh, it was really too embarrassing. Hee hee, swear, I just came to see you today, so I won't disturb you for too long. I'll go back first. I'll invite you to the main mansion as guests in a few days. You have to give big sister face. Lung Shuang emphasized. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded, and then sent Lung Shuang out of the plum garden. However, Lung Wudi didn't leave with his mother. Not only that, Lung Wudi also found a very lousy excuse to stay in the plum garden. 3 days passed quickly. No one had come to the plum garden since Lung Shuang came. Even Lung Rume, who gave Lung Ruoxue 3 days to consider, didn't appear. She couldn't help being a little puzzled. In the May garden, Lung Ruoxue sat on a stone bench and looked at Lung Wudi, who was lying on a recliner in the garden and basking in the sun comfortably. She asked with a light smile. Young Master Lung, why didn't Lung Rume come? 3 days have passed. I don't know. I haven't been back to the Lung family for a few days. You know that, Lung Wudi said irresponsibly. In fact, he also hoped that that woman would come. This way he would have a chance to watch. Unfortunately, Lung Rume actually didn't appear. Alas, it was really too disappointing. That woman didn't have the slightest awareness of being a bad person. How unprofessional. Go back and scout for news and remind her. Lung Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. What benefits? Lung Wudi raised his eyebrows slightly and asked lightly. You're eating and staying here for nothing, and you want benefits? Lung Ruoxue said in disbelief. Heavens! Where did that noble young master of the Lung family, who was like a god, go? The person in front of her was obviously a scoundrel. Yes, I'm not eating and staying for nothing. I'm accompanying you. Lung Wudi said matter-of-factly. Lung Wudi, I find that your skin is becoming thicker and thicker. Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Alas! Poor Lung family. They were blinded by Lung Wudi's seemingly noble side. In fact, this scoundrel appearance was his true appearance. Thank you for the compliment. Lung Wudi said happily. Lung Ruoxue didn't know what to do with his shameless appearance, so she simply turned her head and ignored him. Lung Wudi didn't care. His gaze drifted to Lung Ruoxue from time to time, and the atmosphere in the garden immediately fell silent. After a long time, Feng Da's appearance broke the silence in the garden. Miss, the 3rd and 10th elders of the Lung family are here to see you, Feng Da said bluntly as he walked into the garden. Well, it was so quiet. There were obviously several people in the garden, but no one spoke. It was really too strange. See me? Okay, Feng Da. Ask them to wait in the living room. Lung Ruoxue ordered. Well, someone from the Lung family finally came knocking on her door. Yes, miss. Feng Da answered and then left. 10 minutes passed. Lung Ruoxue had no intention of getting up. After another 10 minutes, Lung Ruoxue still didn't move. Empty, who had been playing chess with Lung Ruhan, couldn't help asking curiously when he saw Lung Ruoxue's calm appearance. Swear, when are we going to see the 3rd elder and the 10th elder? I'm the one she wants to see. It has nothing to do with you, so you just have to stay in the dark, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently, not anxious at all. Chapter 781. The elder arrives for. I know. I'm just reminding you that it's been 20 minutes. Those 2 elders are probably anxious from waiting. Empty said with a light smile. Oh, in that case I'll go take a look. Lung Ruoxue stood up reluctantly. The freak and the others followed closely behind, but she was the only one who entered the living room. Lung Ruoxue heard angry complaints as soon as she stepped into the living room. That Lung Ruoxue is too much. She's only from the lower realm, but she actually dares to put on airs in front of our main family. I have to tell her the rules of our Lung family properly later. The 10th elder sitting in the chair had never received such treatment, so he had nowhere to vent his anger. Okay, then you have to tell me in detail, 3rd elder echoed with a chuckle, but he couldn't help snickering in his heart. Don't worry, I know the clan rules well. I won't miss a single one, the 10th elder promised. Elders, do you want to see me? Lung Ruoxue asked after listening for a while, and walked slowly into the living room. You are Lung Ruoxue? The 10th elder narrowed his eyes and looked at the woman in front of him, stunned. Well, no wonder Rume was so afraid of her. Lung Ruoxue really couldn't be left alive. Yes, I am from a small place. I don't know any manners, so I won't bow to the two elders. Lung Ruoxue sat down directly on the main seat after speaking. The 10th elder was so angry when she sat down. He had never been looked down upon by a junior like this in all his years as an elder. Lung Ruoxue, you really don't know the rules. How can a junior like you sit here in front of me? Hurry up and kneel down. Today, I'll teach you the clan rules. The 10th elder roared with full force, his muddy eyes even revealing a disdainful expression. Kneel. I'm sorry, I don't kneel to the sky or the ground. Apart from my parents who died early, only my grandfather is qualified to make me kneel now. You are not qualified. Lung Ruoxue's cold voice reverberated in the living room, but it also angered the 10th elder half to death. You are just a servant of our Lung family. I'm willing to let you kneel because I think highly of you. Don't be ungrateful, and don't blame me for not reminding you. Defying the elders and not differentiating between seniors and juniors is a serious crime in our Lung family. It would be a light punishment even if we exiled you. In serious cases, we would kill you directly. The 10th elder said proudly. Thank you for your reminder. However, I don't need you to think highly of me. Moreover, I want to know, when did I become a servant of your Lung family? Do I have an indenture contract? Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of question marks. Her beautiful eyes kept looking up and down at the old man in front of her, her beautiful face full of surprise. You're from the lower realm. You should be grateful that our Lung family is willing to take you in. We think highly of you by making you servants. Not just anyone in our Lung family can do it. Moreover, you don't have much contribution to the family. We can't let the family raise you for nothing, right? And you're from a small place and have not seen the world. The family really doesn't have any work suitable for you except to be servants. Therefore, from tomorrow onwards, you will be the eldest Miss Maidservant. As for your elder brother, let him serve the fourth young master. Your grandfather will follow by my side and serve me closely. The 10th elder said with a benevolent appearance. As he spoke, he had already arranged all the work for Lung Ruoxue, her grandfather, and her granddaughter. Do you mean that we can only be servants after returning to the family, because we came from the lower realm? Lung Ruoxue asked uncertainly. Of course, the family can take you in, but we can't raise you for nothing, the 10th elder said with disdain. Then can I think that all the Lung family members who come from the Lingfeng continent have to be servants after returning to the family? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Of course. What can the Lung family from such a small continent do if they don't become servants? It's already good enough that our Lung family is willing to take you in. How dare you pick the third and fourth? The 10th elder said angrily. But I don't want to be a servant. What should I do? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of difficulties. Lung Ruoxue, do you still want to be the young lady of the Lung family if you don't want to be a servant? Let me tell you, don't be delusional. Be a good girl, and be the maidservant of the eldest Mississippi. Don't forget that you've humiliated Miss Rume before. Do you think you can still sit here unscathed if Miss Rume wasn't kind-hearted and didn't fuss about it with you? One has to know how to repay favors and not be ungrateful. The 10th elder's pompous big hat was directly placed on Lung Ruoxue's head. He didn't believe that Lung Ruoxue would not be afraid of the Lung family's punishment. In fact, he couldn't be blamed for being so confident. If he had to blame, he could only blame Lung Ruoxue's reputation for being too small, and her limelight not being loud enough. Moreover, it had already been 2 years ago since the last time she showed off. There were many mystics who became famous in one fell swoop every year in the boundless heaven continent. However, many of them were short-lived and would be drowned by history very quickly. A nightbloom like Lung Ruoxue naturally couldn't enter the eyes of the super families. After all, they had never really seen Lung Ruoxue's strength. Therefore, even if they had heard Lung Ruoxue's name, they had long thrown it to the back of their minds. Moreover, Lung Ruoxue and the others liked to hide their strength, so it also led the 10th elder and the others to make the wrong judgment. Lung Ruoxue was very speechless after hearing what the 10th elder said because she really couldn't understand what favor someone had given her. She had to repay kindness with gratitude. Wouldn't it be ungrateful if she didn't? Could it be that the brain structure of an elder was different from ordinary people? Thinking of this, she turned her gaze to another old man. Well, that old man had no other reaction except to drink tea. Old man, our entire family is not interested in being a servant of the Lung family. Give this honor to others. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently after a while. Lung Ruoxue, do you really think you're the Lung family's young miss? I really don't know which improper Lung family gave birth to a bastard from your side branch. Do you think it's so easy to hug the thigh of our Lung family? Since the family took you in, you have to work to the death for the family. Don't be ungrateful. You have to do whatever the family arranges for you obediently. Do you still want to live on the boundless heaven continent if you dare to go against the family? The 10th elder roared while blowing his beard and glaring. Chapter 782. The Popular Meeting Hall 1. Old man, am also very curious which dishonest person created a rotten seed like you. Lung Ruoxue retorted rudely. At the same time, she couldn't help muttering in her heart. Could this old man have been bitten by a dog? Otherwise, why would he be so crazy? Moreover, she was very sure that she had never seen this old man before. The conversation between Lung Ruoxue and the 10th elder shocked the 3rd elder, who had not said a word by the side, into a cold sweat. The tea in his mouth was directly spat out. Then he couldn't help reaching out to wipe the sweat off his forehead, thinking, these two people are really too fierce. They even scolded the ancestors of the Lung family. They are really too terrifying. Well, he should continue to keep a low profile. Their conversation isn't suitable for him. What do you mean? What does the upper beam have to do with me? The 10th elder actually didn't understand Lung Ruoxue's meaning, and he asked shamelessly. It's a big deal. The upper beam isn't straight, but the lower beam is crooked this time. Lung Ruoxue explained with a light smile. You little bastard with a father and no mother to teach you. How dare you humiliate my Lung family's old ancestor? I think you're really tired of living. Guards, serve my family law. The 10th elder finally understood this time, and was so angry that he roared directly. He even thought that he was in the Lung family's main residence, and there were guards waiting for orders outside at any time. Lung Ruoxue quickly dodged to the front of the 10th elder, and raised her hand rudely when she heard what the 10th elder said. Immediately, there was a pa sound, and afterimages flashed quickly. The 10th elder's face had already been slapped dozens of times, and he was sitting motionlessly in the chair. It was obvious that he had been beaten silly. Damn old man, you're the bastard. How dare you talk about my parents? You're really tired of living. Lung Ruoxue said as she fought. If this old man only came for her, she might not have dealt with him now. However, he actually involved her parents, whom she had never seen before, who gave her life. This was absolutely not something she could tolerate. Therefore, the 10th elder was in tragedy. Miss, take a break. Let us do it. Feng De and the others, who had been hiding in the dark, hurriedly ran into the living room when they saw Lung Ruoxue attack. How could they let Miss attack someone with such manual labor? Feng De grabbed the dazed 10th elder off the chair like he was catching a chicken. This pull also woke the 10th elder up. However, he was beaten up painfully by Cheng Wu and the others who swarmed him before he could say a word. The 10th elder might be a mystic sovereign and had a sturdy body, but even so, he couldn't help being punched and kicked by dozens of mystic sovereigns and above. Therefore, he fainted on the spot. Damn, how dare you humiliate my young miss? How dare you let my young miss be that damn woman's maidservant? In your dreams, that woman isn't even qualified to be my young miss maidservant. Feng De scolded as he beat her up. Damn it. The Lung family is nothing. My young miss doesn't care. Our young miss has many subordinates. One kick from each of them can kill you. One spit from each of them can drown you. Today, we must make you come in vertically and go out horizontally. Cheng Wu said while kicking. Cold sweat dripped down the 3rd elder's forehead when he saw the tragic appearance of the 10th elder sitting in the chair. Oh, These people were really too barbaric. Fortunately, he didn't offend them. However, they wouldn't do anything together, right? Boo. Don't. He was innocent. He was just here to watch the commotion. Don't be scared. My subordinates won't hurt the innocent. Lung Ruoxue saw the nervousness of the other old man and comforted him kindly. Oh, that's good. Third Elder was relieved to hear Lung Ruoxue's words. You must be Third Elder. Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. Yes, I'm Third Elder, Third Elder said hurriedly. Go back and tell your patriarch that I won't take this old man's life first. Ask him to take good care of it for me. Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Swear, I heard that someone wants us to be servants. Lung Ruhan's voice sounded in the living room. Big brother, Grandpa, you're back. Lung Ruoxue smiled happily when she saw the two people walking into the living room. Well, Grandpa and Big Brother went for a walk on the streets. She didn't expect them to be back so soon. Yes, swear. I heard that someone arranged work for the three of us as soon as Grandpa returned. Lung Qingtian said in surprise. Yes, that old man. Lung Ruoxue pointed at the 10th Elder, who had been beaten up so badly that his human form couldn't be seen. Well, swear, even if they want us to be servants, you can't beat them into a pig's head, right? Lung Qingtian pretended to be displeased and accused her. Well, if there wasn't an old man sitting in the hall now, he also wanted to beat him up twice. Grandpa, I beat him up because he said I'm a little bastard with a father and no mother, Lung Ruoxue explained lightly. What? Two angry roars sounded at the same time. In an instant, they saw the grandfather and granddaughter rushing at the 10th Elder at the same time, and several streams of fiery red mystic energy blasted onto the 10th Elder together. The 3rd Elder hurriedly turned his head from the chair, not daring to look at the 10th Elder's miserable appearance. At the same time, his little heart kept trembling. Boo. It seemed like this family had violent factors. Grandpa, Big Brother, don't kill him. I don't want him to die so quickly, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Don't worry, we know our limits, Lung Qingtian promised and then stopped attacking. 3rd Elder, take this trash away. Don't pollute the land of the plum garden. Lung Ruoxue ordered him to leave, and then let everyone out of the living room. After walking out of the living room, Lung Ruoxue didn't find the freakin' empty. She couldn't help looking at Lung Wudi curiously and asked, where did the freakin' empty go? I don't know either. Lung Wudi's gaze was a little evasive as he stammered. Don't know. Lung Ruoxue's face was full of doubts. It would be strange if he didn't know, seeing Lung Wudi's guilty expression. Well, could those two fellows have done something bad behind her back? I really don't know. However, they borrowed my flying beast. Lung Wudi beckoned a little. Chapter 783. The popular meeting hall too? Oh, tell him when the freak returns. I'm going back to my room. Lung Ruoxue returned to her room after speaking. The freak returned not long after she returned to her room. Where did you go? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. I'm going to prepare a gift for the 10th Elder, the freak confessed. What gift? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking. The freak smiled evilly and then whispered something in Lung Ruoxue's ear. You're too evil, but I like it, Lung Ruoxue praised. Humph. How can I let him go if he dares to bully my woman? The freak said resentfully, the killing intent in his eyes flashing for a moment. Freak, I won't let him die too easily, Lung Ruoxue said. Well, who knew who the Lung family would be lured out by beating up the 10th Elder this time? She was really looking forward to it. Yes. The freak nodded. On the other side, 3rd Elder had already returned to the Lung family's main residence with the 10th Elder. 3rd Elder, what are they carrying? Why is it so stinky? They happened to meet the 5th Elder, who had just returned after entering the Lung family's main residence. Oh, it's the 10th Elder, 3rd Elder said speechlessly. He didn't know whose beast it was, but it actually got a pile of feces and collapsed on the 10th Elder, so the 10th Elder became like this stinky appearance. Alas, it was really too pitiful. He felt some pity for the 10th Elder now, even though their relationship was not good. No way. Did you make a mistake? The 5th Elder covered his nose and said in disbelief. At the same time, he was a little puzzled. Why was the 10th elder carried back? What happened? He was so curious. I saw it with my own eyes. How can I be mistaken? That is indeed the 10th elder. 3rd elder promised. But what happened to the 10th elder? The 5th elder's face was full of gossip as he probed reluctantly. Beaten up? 3rd elder gloated. No way. Who's so powerful? How dare they beat up an elder of the Lung family in our proud cold city? The 5th elder said abnormally excitedly. Lung Ruoxue and her subordinates, 3rd elder whispered. Oh, the younger generation will surpass us in time. However, they will probably be in trouble if they dare to attack in proud cold city. The 5th elder said with a sigh. Then he was a little worried. But he was more excited because Lung Ruoxue and the others had done what he had always wanted to do but hadn't done. It's hard to say. I'll go see the patriarch. 5th elder, help me gather the elders. 3rd elder said to 5th elder. Then he ordered the guards carrying the 10th elder behind him. Go and do whatever you need to do after sending the 10th elder back to his residence. Yes, the guards answered and then carried the stinky 10th elder to his residence. In the meeting hall, the huge living room was soon full of elders and offerings as the elders arrived one by one. 3rd elder, tell me what happened. Lung Yimin said speechlessly when he saw that everyone was here. Alas, he really didn't expect this to happen. This made him a little at a loss for what to do. Okay. 3rd elder nodded. Then he stood up and embellished the story of the 10th elder being beaten up. Anyway, according to him, what he said implied that the 10th elder handled the matter improperly, so the other party couldn't take it anymore and beat him up. After hearing what the 3rd elder said, Lung Yimin, the elders, and the guardians didn't say anything for a while, and the atmosphere instantly became depressed. Why aren't you talking anymore? 3rd elder said knowingly to the advisor. He couldn't deny that he was a little dumbfounded at that time. However, he had to pretend to be mute if he didn't speak. Patriarch, this Lung Ruoxue is really too much. She actually dared to beat up an elder of the Lung family. We have to punish her severely. Otherwise, how can we convince the public in the future? A consecrator who had a good relationship with the 10th elder was the first to speak. Patriarch, this matter was indeed handled improperly by the 10th elder. As an elder of the Lung family who was virtuous and respected, how can he look up to the Lung family from the lower realm? His behavior is so disappointing. Oh, right, I think everyone must want to know who the improper Lung family the 10th elder mentioned is, right? The 5th elder said softly. 5th elder, how can the 10th elder say such things? It's up to you not to listen to the wind. An old man said again. Does 11th elder mean that I'm framing the 10th elder? Why don't we invite the 10th elder and Lung Ruoxue to confront each other? Familiar or not, I believe everyone's eyes are clear. 3rd elder said calmly. 3rd elder, you're mistaken. I didn't say that you framed the 10th elder. The 11th elder said hurriedly. But that's what you mean. 3rd elder said stubbornly. Stop arguing. I called you here to discuss something, not to let you bicker. Lung Yimin said uncontrollably. Many of these elders were of higher seniority than him, so it was really difficult to manage. The elders tactfully shut their mouths after hearing Lung Yimin's words. Grand elder, what do you think we should do about this? Lung Yimin turned to the young man beside him. You are the patriarch. You can decide what to do. The grand elder said irresponsibly. Then he drank his tea and ignored Lung Yimin. Lung Yimin was depressed. What could he do? Would he still be worried if he knew? Alas! If he had known earlier, he shouldn't have sent the 10th elder to arrange for Lung Ruoxue and the others. That old man kept causing trouble for him. He was really incompetent. Patriarch, you have to uphold justice for my father. A sobbing woman's voice drifted in just as Lung Yimin was feeling abnormally depressed. Immediately after, a white-clothed woman stumbled into the meeting hall. What are you doing here? Hurry up and go back. Lung Yimin's head immediately hurt when he saw this teary and weak woman. Patriarch, you have to seek justice for my father. Otherwise, I'll kill myself in this meeting hall. The white-clothed woman threatened with tears in her beautiful eyes. Chapter 784. the popular meeting hall 3. How dare you? This isn't a place where you can behave atrociously. Hurry up and scram back to your residence. Lung Yimin roared furiously, the veins on his forehead bulging. Father, Lung Ruoxue humiliated Grandpa like this. You absolutely can't let her go. At this moment, 2 more people barged in, and one of them was Lung Rume. What are you doing here? Get back to your rooms. Lung Yimin roared with widened eyes. He was so angry. These 3 troublesome things. Didn't they see that the Grand Elder was here too? No one could protect them if they angered the Grand Elder. Unfortunately, not only did the mother and children not appreciate his efforts, they even pressed on step by step. Father, Lung Ruoxue is just a bumpkin who hasn't seen the world. I'm willing to let her be my maidservant. But not only does she not know gratitude, she actually injured Grandpa. How unforgivable. Moreover, according to our clan rules, offending your superiors is a capital offense. So please give the order to punish Lung Ruoxue. Lung Rume directly used the clan rules to pressure others. She didn't believe Lung Ruoxue would survive this time. Shut up. You have no say in this matter. Lung Yimin rebuked resentfully. This daughter was becoming more and more out of hand. Didn't she take a look at where she was? She kept complaining here. Did she think those elders were dead? Father, could it be that you're afraid of Lung Ruoxue? Lung Rume was a little angry that her father refused to give the order. How dare you? Lung Yimin roared as he slammed the table. Father, we won't live if you don't punish Lung Ruoxue, Lung Rume threatened. She really didn't expect her father, who had always loved her, to shout at her for an outsider. How could she bear this? One vile being. How dare you threaten me? Lung Yimin's face darkened with anger. Patriarch, I know. It was my fault back then. I shouldn't have given birth to the 2 of them. The existence of the 3 of us has always been in the eyes of someone, so we'll bring the 2 of them to die here today. It'll be over. The white-clothed woman said aggrievedly with tears in her eyes. Lung Wanqiu, are you talking about me? Lung Shuang's voice sounded before Lung Yimin could say anything. Madam, why are you here? Lung Yimin hurriedly stood up and welcomed Lung Shuang after seeing her. After seeing Lung Shuang, the other elders and guardians stood up and bowed to her in addition to the elders with higher seniority. Elders, there's no need to stand on ceremony. I just heard that the meeting hall today is quite lively, so I came to join in the fun. Lung Shuang's beautiful face had a perfect smile as she said. Then she sat down in the empty seat on the other side of Lung Yimin. Lung Wanqiu, you haven't answered me yet. Lung Shuang continued to remind her after sitting down. Mistress, you are virtuous and respected in the clan. How can I dare to criticize you? Lung Wanqiu said with a very pale face. Her soft and watery eyes kept floating to Lung Yimin, hoping to obtain his protection. Unfortunately, he didn't even look at her, which made her feel very disappointed. Oh, I heard you say that you want to end everything here? Lung Shuang raised her eyes and asked lightly. I just hope that the patriarch can uphold justice for this servant's old father. He has been humiliated like this. If the Lung family doesn't punish Lung Ruoxue, where will our Lung family's face go? Bai Wanqiu said righteously. So you don't really want to die? Lung Shuang's beautiful face was full of regret. Lung Wanqiu looked at the high and mighty Lung Shuang and couldn't help but burn with jealousy. However, she really didn't dare to contradict Lung Shuang in front of so many elders. Otherwise, she would be the unlucky one. Alright, don't call yourself a servant in front of me as if I'm bullying you. Moreover, I'm not a man, so save your pitiful appearance. Lung Shuang didn't hide her disgust. Mistress. Lung Wanqiu wanted to explain with tears in her eyes, but Lung Shuang interrupted her. Lung Wanqiu, you're really becoming more and more gutsy. You even dare to threaten the patriarch and the elders. However, what I want to tell you is that if you really want to die, just bring your child and die. Don't just say nothing. Lung Shuang said with a spurious smile. With her words, even the elders and guardians who were on better terms with the 10th elder, did not dare to speak up for Lung Wanqiu. As for Lung Yimin, he directly turned his head to the pillar beside him, and counted the dragon scales on it. Mistress, this servant doesn't dare. Lung Wanqiu said softly, tears falling from her eyes like pearls with a broken string. Even if you are the mistress of the family, you can't bully my mother like this. She is my father's woman after all. How can you treat her like this? Lung Rume accused furiously, her heart full of hatred. One day, she must vent this anger for herself and for her mother. At that time, she would definitely return Lung Shuang's humiliation on the three of them by several times. She swore in her heart, "Patriarch, is this the daughter you've always doted on? How uneducated." Lung Shuang ignored Lung Rume and said to Lung Yimin disdainfully. Rume quickly apologized to the matriarch. Lung Yimin roared shamelessly. Alas! This trivial matter in his family. When would it end? He was so annoyed. I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I admit it? Lung Rume said indignantly. Patriarch, since Miss Lung Rume is unwilling to admit her mistake, don't force her. I can't bear it either, Lung Shuang said very coldly. Madam, Lung Yimin pleaded. Boo. He knew that Madam was angry from her tone. Patriarch, I came to inform you of a matter. Lung Ruoxue and I hit it off at first sight, so I recognized her as my sister. Moreover, I've already sent someone to invite her to my house as a guest. Well, they should be here soon. I'll excuse myself. Lung Shuang left the meeting hall coolly after speaking. Everyone was stunned for a moment when they heard Lung Shuang's words. After they returned to their senses, they realized that the matter seemed to be becoming more and more complicated. Alas, the patriarch's wife was also involved, which made them very conflicted. Chapter 785. The popular meeting hall for going against Lung Ruoxue would offend Lung Shuang, and offending Lung Shuang was equivalent to offending Lung Jingmu. However, if they let Lung Ruoxue go, the elders were afraid that they would be unable to explain it to the elders of the 10th elders branch, so they were really in a difficult situation. Everyone disperse. Let's discuss this matter again. Lung Yimin sighed helplessly. Lung Yimin's words were like a pardon. Everyone present immediately scattered when they heard it. Lung Wanqiu also left with her children, seeing that she couldn't achieve her goal today. In the frost garden, Lung Shuang was entertaining Lung Ruoxue and the others warmly. Sister, what happened today? Tell me quickly. Lung Shuang asked with a face full of gossip. She was really curious about Lung Ruoxue's heroic deed today. However, she only heard a little, so she wanted to hear it from the person involved. Nothing. I just beat up an old man. However, I didn't beat him to death and even left him alive. Lung Ruoxue explained simply. Sister, I'm afraid it will be a little troublesome if you beat up that old thing. However, I'll definitely not let anyone bully you with me around. Don't worry. Lung Shuang promised very confidently. Big sister, I'm not afraid of trouble. Bring it on if anyone wants to stand up for that old thing. Moreover, I can guarantee that the unlucky ones will definitely be others. Lung Ruoxue smiled nonchalantly. She had already given the Lung family face. Don't blame her if anyone foolishly provoked her again. Little sister, big sister can still have some say in the Lung family. If anyone annoys you, you should attack. There's no need to worry too much. Big sister will think of a way to help you settle anything, Lung Shuang promised. Thank you, big sister. Lung Ruoxue smiled. We hit it off at first sight. There's no need to be so polite with big sister. By the way, little sister, I've arranged a residence for you. Stay in the Lung family for a few days. The scenery in our Lung family's main residence isn't inferior to the plum garden. Lung Shuang said with a smile. Big sister, I'm afraid we will cause trouble for you if we stay here, so. Lung Ruoxue deliberately said half of what she wanted to say because she believed Lung Shuang would understand what she meant. What are you afraid of? I want to see which ignorant person dares to provoke my sister. Lung Shuang's beautiful face was full of ruthlessness. If big sister isn't afraid, I'm even less afraid. Lung Ruoxue smiled like a little fox. Then I'll stay here. I'll leave when I'm done. Lung Shuang took the opportunity to say. Well, she definitely wouldn't be lonely if Lung Ruoxue stayed in the Lung family's main mansion. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Sister, big sister arranged for you to stay in the snowfall garden. There are enough rooms there, which is just right for you to stay, Leng Shuang said. Thank you, big sister, Leng Ruoxue said politely. What trouble? Big sister will bring you there now. Rest early today and big sister will welcome you tomorrow. Leng Shuang said and stood up. Then she brought Leng Ruoxue and the others to the Leng family's best VIP yard, Snowfall Garden. Snowfall Garden was the best guest yard in the Leng family's main residence. There were nearly 100 rooms inside, and the scenery was beautiful, the environment was elegant, and the air was fresh. Leng Shuang brought Leng Ruoxue and the others directly into the fallen snow garden when they arrived. At this moment, there was not a single servant inside except for 2 guards outside the garden. Sister, big sister didn't arrange servants for you, so I'll arrange everything here for you, Leng Shuang reminded. She knew that Leng Ruoxue had many subordinates, and she definitely didn't like to be served by the Leng family servants, so there was no need to do anything unnecessary. Big sister, I'm afraid staying here will make things difficult for you. Leng Ruoxue looked up at the scenery and pavilions in the yard. The decorations here were very exquisite, absolutely top-notch. No, I'm the mistress of the household. I can decide on such a small matter. Don't worry, Leng Shuang said nonchalantly. Then I won't refuse. Leng Ruoxue didn't stand on ceremony. She wouldn't stay here for long anyway. Sister, rest. Big sister is leaving, Leng Shuang said and left the Snowfall Garden. After Leng Shuang left, Leng Ruoxue motioned for Fengde and the others to find their own rooms to rest. Then she and the freak casually found a room to stay in. Leng Shuang left the Snowfall Garden and went to see her father-in-law first. She reported her arrangements to him, and then returned to the Frost Garden. She saw Leng Yimin sitting at the round table, drinking tea and eating snacks as soon as she returned to her room. He seemed to be waiting for her. Madam, where did you go? Leng Yimin stood up ingratiatingly and asked with concern after seeing Leng Shuang. Alas, none of the maidservants here were willing to give him a good face. Ooh, he really didn't have any dignity as the patriarch. Arrange a residence for my sister, Leng Shuang replied indifferently. Oh, where did you arrange for them? Leng Yimin asked curiously. Snowfall Garden, Leng Shuang said lightly. Madam, how can they stay in the Snowfall Garden? Leng Yimin's face was full of disapproval. People were staying there in a few days, so Leng Ruoxue and the others couldn't stay there. Why can't they stay there? Leng Shuang raised her eyebrows and asked coldly. You know that the other 2 super families will send people to our Leng family in a few days, Leng Yimin reminded. So what? Leng Shuang was puzzled. The rooms in the Snowfall Garden will be arranged for them to stay. Leng Yimin had to be more straightforward. Let's not talk about them not being here yet. Even if they are, we can let them stay in other courtyards. The Snowfall Garden is spacious and big enough. Sister and the others have more people, so they can't stay anywhere else, Leng Shuang said indifferently, obviously not taking Leng Yimin's word seriously. Madam, the Lan family and the Sun family used to live in the Snowfall Garden in the past. Leng Yimin sighed and reminded helplessly. You said it's the previous years. Let them stay in other courtyards this year. Leng Shuang was very disapproving. They were just some juniors. Why was there a need to be so particular about their residence? She had always disagreed with juniors enjoying themselves too much, so she reduced the allowance of those children since she became the head of the family. Of course, it aroused the dissatisfaction of some people in the beginning. However, under her Iron Fist's management, the dissatisfaction slowly disappeared. Chapter 786. The depressed Leng father and son 1. Madam. Leng Yimin still wanted to fight for it, but seeing Leng Shuang's persistent face, he had to change the topic. Why didn't you discuss with me beforehand that you recognized Leng Ruoxue as your sister? Leng Shuang's arbitrary decision made him very passive. Patriarch, you didn't discuss it with me beforehand even though you created 2 children. Leng Shuang smiled with her red lips. Madam, you know that was an accident. Leng Yimin was very embarrassed. Boo. It had been so many years. How could Madam not forget this? Patriarch, the process isn't important. What's important is the result. Lung Shuang reminded unpleasantly with a cold face. I'm tired and want to rest, Lung Shuang said again. Then she took off her clothes and lay on the bed, ignoring Lung Yimin. Lung Yimin was a little embarrassed. He sat alone by the table and listened to the even breathing of the cold frost on the bed. He sighed helplessly. Alas! A single misstep would lead to eternal regret. Boo! After wallowing in self-pity for a while, he took out his blanket from the cabinet and spread it on the ground. He lay down after making the bed. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the others welcomed 3 uninvited guests just after breakfast. Lung Ruoxue, who allowed you to stay here? Get lost. Lung Rume roared without caring about her image as soon as she saw Lung Ruoxue and the others in the yard of the falling snow garden. Miss Lung, if you want to chase us out, wait until you become the mistress of the family, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Then she sat down on a stone bench in the yard, and Lu Tao hurriedly arranged tea and snacks in front of her young miss. You, Lung Ruoxue, you injured my grandfather. The Lung family will never let you go, Lung Rume said fiercely and promised in her heart that the day would come when she would become the mistress of the family. At that time, she swore to step on these annoying people. Didn't I deliver myself to your door? Do whatever the Lung family wants, Lung Ruoxue said with a spurious smile. Miss Lung, my father is already so old. How can a junior like you attack a senior? This is disrespectful and unfilial. My father is also an elder of the clan. You are also offending your superiors like this. This is a serious crime in the Lung family. However, if you are willing to admit your mistake, I will plead with the elders and the patriarch. I hope they will sentence you lightly on the account that you are young and don't know the rules, Lung Wanqiu said very understandingly. Elder? Whose elder is the 10th elder? Being disrespectful, unfilial, and offending your superiors in the Lung family is a serious crime. What does it have to do with me? I didn't admit that I'm from the Lung family. Lung Ruoxue smiled lightly and looked at the weak and cute woman in front of her, as if she was watching a joke. She only knew from Lung Shuang yesterday that Lung Rume was the 10th elder's granddaughter. Well, no wonder they were so annoying. They were a family after all this fuss. You actually don't think you're from the Lung family. You're too arrogant. Lung Wanqia's slightly pale face was full of pain. In fact, she was so happy when she heard Lung Ruoxue say this. Since he wasn't from the Lung family, did the elder who beat the Lung family want to walk out of Ayahan City alive? No way. Lung Ruoxue, get out of the Lung family quickly since you don't admit that you are from the Lung family. Why are you still staying here? Lung Rume provoked with a face full of contempt. Because I'm a guest of the Lung family. Can't you see that I live in the guest yard? Lung Ruoxue reminded kindly. Lung Rume was quite bold. Not only did she chase away the guests of the Lung family's young master, but she also chased away the guests of the patriarch's wife now. Well, her courage was commendable, and she had to admire her. Lung Ruoxue, you are just a bumpkin. The Snowfall Garden is not a place for you to stay. Get out of here quickly. Lung Rume roared furiously. Her lungs were about to explode from anger when she knew that Lung Ruoxue and the others were staying in the Snowfall Garden, so she dragged her mother and brother here to denounce them early in the morning. Lung Rume, you're indeed the eldest daughter of the Lung family. How dare you chase away my guests? Lung Shuang's voice suddenly sounded from behind Lung Rume and her son. Mistress, why are you here? Lung Rume was shocked and hurriedly smiled. You can come but I can't? Lung Shuang asked with a fake smile. Mistress, that's not what I mean, Lung Rume explained. She hated Lung Shuang to death, but she also knew that she couldn't beat Lung Shuang now, so she could only bear with it. Lung Rume, stay in your yard obediently if you don't want to be locked up. My guests don't need you to order them around, understand? Lung Shuang reminded. Yes, Rume understands. Lung Rume replied softly while suppressing her anger. Why are you still standing here if you understand? Lung Shuang questioned with slight displeasure. Mistress, Rume will take her leave. Lung Rume bowed to Lung Shuang and left the Snowfall Garden with her mother and brother. Big sister, why are you here so early? Lung Ruoxue asked softly after Lung Rume left. I heard from the guards that Lung Rume came to the Snowfall Garden. I was worried, so I came to take a look, Lung Shuang said honestly. Are you afraid that I will suffer a loss? Lung Ruoxue teased. Yes. However, I also know that it's impossible for you to suffer a loss. By the way, I received news that Lung Wanqiu has already gone to find her bloodline's great-grandfather to uphold justice, so you have to be careful. That old man's seniority in the Lung family is very high. These elders of the Lung family will probably give him some face more or less now. Lung Wanqiu reminded worriedly. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Well, it seemed like it was also beneficial to have an elder in the family. The younger ones would immediately jump out to seek justice for their descendants after they were beaten up. Sister, I want to accompany you for now. I'll send someone to invite you when the welcome banquet is ready. Lung Shuang turned and left the snowfall garden after speaking. At this moment, two young men were sitting opposite each other in a room in the restricted area behind the Lung family's back mountain. One of the men was the grand elder of the Lung family, and the other was emitting cold air. His appearance and temperament were both cold. Chapter 787. The depressed Lung father and son too. Qianyi, what do you think we should do about this? The cold man asked the grand elder sitting opposite him softly. Grandpa, I shouldn't be the one you're asking about this. You should ask eldest grandpa. After all, most of the Lung family members are his descendants now. Lung Qianyi said with an irresponsible face. Lung Ruoxue was not easy to bully according to his secret observation these few days. Well, as expected of his descendant. He even beat up the current elder of the Lung family. Well beaten. Stinky brat, I'm asking you now. Don't divert the topic. The cold man said without being affected at all. I don't know. I only know that Lung Wanqiu has already found an elder of her line. Alas. What a pity. Our little Schwer doesn't have an elder to back her up. How pitiful. Lung Qianyi's tone was full of pity, but his face didn't have the slightest trace of regret. Grandpa, you improper Lung family left us bastards from the Lingfeng continent. And now you're so irresponsible as to watch your few descendants being bullied. Aren't you embarrassed? Lung Qianyi continued, his handsome face full of disapproval. You stinky brat, how dare you lie to me? Think about it. They need the support of their elders everywhere. When can they be independent? I'm doing this for their own good. The cold man said calmly. Grandpa, don't blame me for not reminding you. There are only 5 of your descendants including Lung Ruoxue's grandfather, and granddaughter. If you don't do anything, I won't acknowledge you when the time comes. Don't cry. After all, that little fellow is already so independent that he can't be independent anymore. He doesn't have to rely on us to support him at all. He can also obtain a place in the boundless heaven continent. Therefore, you have to perform as soon as possible. If you're late, you can probably only become a stranger with a bloodline relationship. Lung Qianyi reminded. Well, his words were not exaggerating. Moreover, he was very clear that Lung Ruoxue and the other little fellows had no intention of returning to the family at all. I know what to do. You don't have to worry unnecessarily. The cold man roared angrily. It wasn't that he wanted to be a coward. Wasn't he a little nervous? After all, he really didn't know how to interact with juniors after so many generations. Grandpa, I won't worry then. I'll go back and continue watching the commotion. I want to see how little Schwer and the other little fellows can cause a commotion in the Lung family. By the way, tell eldest grandpa not to feel bad. It's time to clean up the trash in the family, Lung Qianyi said with a smile. Then he stood up and left the room. In the evening, Lung Wudi came to fetch Lung Ruoxue and the others for the banquet. The welcome banquet was arranged in the Lung family's largest banquet hall. The golden hall was already full of the Lung family when Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived. Lung Shuang welcomed them after seeing them. Sister, this way please. Lung Shuang arranged for Lung Ruoxue's grandfather, granddaughter, the freak, empty, and the little old man to sit at the main table. As for Lung Ruoxue's subordinates, she arranged for them to sit with the others from the Lung family. Mistress, may I ask what right do they have to sit on the chair? They are only from the Lung family that came from the lower realm, and have not contributed to the family. If we arrange for them to sit at the main table, us Lung family members who have worked hard for the family will not be convinced. The Lung family began to make things difficult for Lung Ruoxue and the others before they sat down. The person who spoke was a middle-aged man with a very valiant appearance. He was tall and burly, and there was a gust of wind on him. He must have just returned from outside. Lung Xiong, do you have any objections to my arrangement? Lung Shuang asked angrily with a stern face. I don't dare to. I just want to know why they can sit there. Lung Xiong said very respectfully. He had just returned to the Lung family and heard some rumors. He also heard that the 10th elder had been injured, and the person who injured the 10th elder at this moment had actually become a guest of the Lung family. In his heart, the family's honor was above everything, so he couldn't help asking bluntly. After all, such an arrangement by the mistress would make many Lung family uncomfortable, but others might not have the guts to ask. They are my sister and her family. Is this reason enough? Lung Shuang said with a spurious smile. Mistress, they were the ones who injured the 10th elder, right? Lung Xiong continued asking. His question immediately attracted the attention of many members of the Lung family, because everyone only dared to discuss this in private. No one dared to say it in person because she had the backing of the mistress of the family. Even the elders of the family kept silent about this matter, let alone them. So what if I am? Lung Shuang said nonchalantly. She would have beaten that old man up if she wasn't the mistress of the family. Therefore, Lung Ruoxue and the others' behavior had won her heart. Since they are from the Lung family and injured an elder, shouldn't they be punished? Mistress, we all respect you very much, but you can't shield the guilty like this. Lung Xiong said righteously. His words also resonated with some of the Lung family present. Immediately, many people began to discuss spiritedly. Lung Rumei, who was sitting in the corner, couldn't help smiling proudly when she saw this scene. She was really too satisfied with Lung Xiong's performance. She really wouldn't have been able to use him if Lung Xiong wasn't so righteous. Moreover, Lung Xiong was very prestigious among the middle-class clansmen of the Lung family, so her move was really right. Lung Xiong, you just returned to the family and don't understand certain situations. Don't listen to the wind and rain, Lung Shuang reminded. In fact, she had a good impression of Lung Xiong. He was an upright clansman. However, it was precisely because he was a little stubborn that he was easy to be instigated and used. The scene today was obviously directed by someone beforehand. She knew who that person was without needing to ask. They were just a group of clowns. She would not have ignored them if she didn't know that those people would not amount to much. However, ignoring them was one thing. Did those people really think that they did not dare to attack them? Lung Shuang smiled faintly, the cold aura on her body becoming stronger and stronger. Mistress. Lung Xiong also knew that it was inappropriate to question her in such an occasion. However, he really couldn't bear to watch. However, from what Mistress said, could there be something else going on? However, he had not only heard one clansman say this, many people were discussing it in private. Therefore, his character made him the first to speak. Chapter 788. The Depressed Lung Father and Son 3. Lung Xiong, today is the welcome banquet I'm holding for my sister. I asked you to participate, because I hope you can get to know each other, so that unnecessary misunderstandings won't happen in the future. Therefore, if you have any doubts, tell me after the banquet ends. Now shut up. Lung Shuang reminded. Yes. Lung Xiong was not stupid. He knew that he had gone too far, so he hurriedly returned to his seat. Sister, I'm sorry to have embarrassed you. Lung Shuang turned her head and said to Lung Ruoxue apologetically. It's okay. Justice is in the hearts of people. I believe that the Lung family isn't all stupid. I beat up the 10th elder because that old thing deserves to be beaten up. A cold voice emerged gently from Lung Ruoxue's pink lips. The voice was not loud, but everyone present heard it clearly. Moreover, for some reason, the Lung family felt even more stressed after hearing Lung Ruoxue's words. Haha, what a good one. Lass, you're really arrogant. As expected of our Lung family. Lung Jingmu laughed and walked out of the hall to the table where Lung Ruoxue was. He happened to hear Lung Ruoxue's words when he entered and couldn't help but interrupt. Everyone in the Lung family fell silent after seeing Lung Jingmu. Sister, he is my father-in-law, the former patriarch of the Lung family, Lung Shuang reminded softly. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Then she looked up at the middle-aged man in his early 50s and said calmly, Old man, you're mistaken. I'm not from the Lung family. You're from the Lingfeng continent. How can you not be from the Lung family? Lung Jingmu's eyes widened in disbelief, and he couldn't help muttering in his heart. This girl is holding a grudge. She actually doesn't admit that she's from the Lung family. This won't do. Such an outstanding descendant can't be left outside. If that's the case, the Grand Elder probably won't let them go. Everyone from the Lingfeng continent has to come to the Lung family as servants. I'm used to being free and slow, so I can't do the work of others, so leave the Lung family's thigh to others. I won't participate. Anyway, the Lung family doesn't lack the three of us. Moreover, I can tell you very clearly that there's no one else in the Lung family on the Lingfeng continent other than the three of us. Therefore, you have to nurture the Lung family's servants yourselves in the future. There's no longer any supply on the Lingfeng continent, Lung Ruoxue said very seriously. Lung Jingmu couldn't help breaking out in cold sweat at Lung Ruoxue's words. He was so aggrieved. He didn't ask the 10th elder to say this, so why did it have to be on him? Moreover, he knew that the old ancestor and the Grand Elder already knew this. However, not reacting now didn't mean that they wouldn't settle the score later. Therefore, someone would definitely pay the price for this. Hopefully he wouldn't be implicated. Last, this is all a misunderstanding. The Lung family won't let you be servants, Lung Jingmu promised. As long as this girl was willing to return to the family, it was fine even if he had to worship them. Who dared to let them serve others? One had to know that there were only a few people in that line, and Lung Ruoxue and the others definitely had a much stronger background than them. After all, he still knew the principle that rare things were precious. Doesn't the 10th elder's words represent the Lung family? Don't tell me he's spouting nonsense. I'll be very disappointed if that's the case. Lung Ruoxue smiled nonchalantly. Last, do you believe me or the 10th elder? Lung Jingmu asked instead of answering. Well, this girl was so smart, she would definitely understand what he meant. He was very confident about this, but he guessed wrong this time because Lung Ruoxue had never played according to the rules. Me. Of course I believe the 10th elder. Lung Ruoxue deliberately paused, and then said with a smile. Lung Jingmu was stunned, thinking that he had heard it wrong. Then he asked again for confirmation. What did you say? I said, I believe the 10th elder's words. Lung Ruoxue said very clearly to prevent this old man from pretending not to hear her. Why? Lass, have you forgotten my identity? Lung Jingmu couldn't help reminding her. I didn't forget. You are the former patriarch of the Lung family. Lung Ruoxue said very clearly and deliberately emphasized the first word. Then why do you believe the 10th elder and not me? Lung Jingmu said gloomily. This girl was too difficult to deal with. Isn't it obvious? You are the former patriarch while the 10th elder is the current elder. Who do you think I should believe? Lung Ruoxue asked in return. Lass, I might not be the patriarch now, but I still have a high status in the Lung family. They have to listen to me as long as I say it. Lung Jingmu reminded her. What he implied was that he was just a decoration. Old man, I'm a good child and don't like to spout nonsense, so I have to remind you that it's better to manage it on the spot than to be an official. The current patriarch of the Lung family is your son. Even though those elders will also listen to your orders, it's unavoidable to obey openly but disobey in secret. As for your son, the current patriarch of the Lung family, he's still too young. I'm afraid he can't completely control those slippery elders. Lung Ruoxue looked at the uncomfortable man beside Lung Jingmu and said understandingly. Lung Jingmu and Lung Yimin were even more depressed when Lung Ruoxue said this because they knew very well that what Lung Ruoxue was talking about was the current situation of the Lung family. This was also a situation that most of the new and old power alternations would happen. As for the elders present, They couldn't help shrinking their necks when they heard Lung Ruoxia's words, trying to reduce their presence lest they accidentally became cannon fodder. At the same time, they were muttering in their hearts, "I didn't disrespect the patriarch. What an arrogant little girl. According to you, all of us old ancestors are just decorations?" Suddenly, a slightly gloomy voice interrupted, and its tone was obviously displeased. Lung Ruoxia couldn't help looking up at the source of the voice when she heard this. She saw a middle-aged man standing at the door of the hall. The man was very tall and thin, but his temperament gave people a slightly dark feeling. His strength was mystic supremacy. Well, could this person be the old ancestor Lung Ruoxia found? She guessed. Chapter 789. Grand Elder, I don't have money. 1. What? Are you mute? Weren't you pretty sharp-tongued just now? The middle-aged man couldn't help mocking Lung Ruoxia when she didn't say anything for a while. Isn't that so? Let's take you as an example. Perhaps your seniority is higher than the person sitting here. But what about your strength? Many people here are about the same strength as you, right? If I remember correctly, this world seems to speak of strength. It's useless if you don't have extraordinary strength and only want to use seniority to pressure others. There will probably be more people who obey but disobey in secret. Of course, if you have the aura of an outstanding bastard, I believe no one will dare to disobey you. However, do you have it? Lung Ruoxia said calmly. Did she really think she would be afraid just because she found an old aunt? It was just a mystic supremacy. She and the freak could deal with him without anyone needing to do anything. Everyone present, including Lung Jingmu, couldn't help taking a deep breath after hearing Lung Ruoxia's words, because none of them expected this young girl to be so bold. One had to know that the middle-aged man who spoke just now had a very high seniority in the clan, so even though that person's character was not good, Lung Ruoxia was absolutely the first person among the younger generation to dare to speak to him like this. And with that person's character of taking revenge for flaws, Lung Ruoxia was probably going to be unlucky. Immediately, everyone looked at Lung Ruoxia with pity, and something indescribable. Okay. Lass, I hope you can always be so bold. The middle-aged man suppressed the anger in his heart, and then looked at Lung Jingmu with an unfriendly gaze. Uncle, why are you here? Lung Jingmu braced himself. He had always hated this uncle, but he didn't want to provoke him. After all, one shouldn't offend a hypocrite even if they wanted to offend a real despicable person. His uncle was a hypocrite, so he had always avoided him if possible and never went head-on with him. Of course you want me to never appear. If I didn't come, who knows when our Lung family would have such an unfilial descendant? The middle-aged man said coldly, the light in his eyes shooting at Lung Ruoxia like a sharp sword. Lung Ruoxia sat down directly as if she didn't see it. The middle-aged man's gaze became even more obscure when she sat down. Uncle, why bother with me? Lung Jingmu advised helplessly, large drops of sweat flowing down his forehead. Jingmu, let me ask you, what crime is it to disrespect your elders in the Lung family? The middle-aged man narrowed his eyes and asked lightly. Lung Jingmu was in a dilemma. He knew that his uncle wanted to use his seniority to suppress Lung Ruoxia, but he was helpless because there was indeed such a rule in the Lung family's rules. Rume, tell me. The middle-aged man turned his gaze to Lung Rume in the corner. In response to Old Ancestor, those who are disrespectful to their elders will be exiled or expelled from the clan, Lung Rume said proudly. She knew that getting the Old Ancestor to settle Lung Ruoxia was a trivial matter. Her so-called expulsion naturally referred to death. Did you hear that? Emin, do you need me to teach you what to do? The middle-aged man's venomous gaze landed on the current patriarch, Lung Emin. Lung Emin looked at his father conflicted. Haha. Old man, I think you're mistaken. I'm not from the Lung family, so your family rules are useless to me, Lung Ruoxia said with some amusement. Alas! What kind of people were these? How could they be so self-righteous? However, she finally gained knowledge today. How dare you disown your ancestors as a member of the Lung family? Guards, arrest this unfilial junior and await your punishment. After the middle-aged man roared, many guards ran in, and the guards who entered were naturally his guards. Uncle, I'm afraid that's not appropriate. Lung Jingmu reminded with a frown. What's wrong with that? It will probably be difficult to explain to the people in the clan if we don't deal with Lung Ruoxue today, the middle-aged man said resolutely. Old man, what reason do you want to deal with me? Lung Ruoxue asked with a light smile. Well, this welcome banquet was really lively. She was very satisfied. Isn't it enough that you disobey your elders and don't respect them? The middle-aged man said. Of course not. Seems like you're really old. You forgot what I said so quickly. I told you I'm not from the Lung family. Lung Ruoxue reminded with a smile. It's a capital crime not to admit that you are a member of the Lung family, the middle-aged man said fiercely. What? Only the Lung family can deny us, but we can't deny the Lung family? What kind of logic is that? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. By the way, do you want to add the crime of me hitting the 10th elder? Lung Ruoxue reminded again. That's right. You also injured an elder of the De Gaowang family, so you will be punished with several crimes. The middle-aged man said with a nod. Lung Xing, you're really becoming more and more promising. You even bullied a little girl. At this moment, another voice sounded in everyone's ears. Everyone's jaws almost fell to the ground when they saw this. What day was it today? Why did it alarm the Grand Elder who never participated in any banquet? This fellow was of a higher generation, and was more difficult to deal with than the previous one. Lung Qinya, what are you doing here? The middle-aged man named Lung Xing had a headache when he saw the Grand Elder. Lung Xing, how dare you call me by my name? Guards, arrest this disrespectful fellow and await punishment. Lung Qinya also shouted out of the hall in the same way, and then more guards ran in than before. Lung Qinya, how dare you? Lung Xing roared furiously. How dare you? Why wouldn't I dare? Did I bully you? Lung Qinya's face was full of innocence, and tears seemed to be flowing in his eyes. Okay, I was wrong. I won't let anyone capture Lung Ruoxue. Lung Xing admitted defeat. Lung Qinya was obviously on Lung Ruoxue's side. He really couldn't understand how Lung Ruoxue caught Lung Qinya's eye after only coming to the clan for a few days. He really didn't dare to touch Lung Ruoxue with this fellow backing her up. Alas, he was depressed. He miscalculated. Chapter 790. Grand Elder, I don't have money too. Lung Xing, can't you grow a brain? Didn't I say that we're not from the Lung family? You still use this excuse to deal with me. You're really stupid. Lung Qinya said with a face full of disappointment. Lung Xing was a little conflicted. Was Lung Qinya really Lung Ruoxue's backer? Why did it sound like he wanted him to find a better excuse? Thinking of this, Lung Xing decided to probe carefully. Then he said, Lung Ruoxue, it's a little inappropriate to punish you according to the clan rules since you haven't acknowledged your ancestors yet. But you can't deny the fact that you injured the 10th elder, right? I admit it. I beat that old thing up. Lung Ruoxue didn't deny it. You injured a manager elder of the Lung family. Tell me what to do. Lung Xing said democratically. In fact, it was mainly because Lung Qinya was eyeing him covetously from the side. He couldn't understand that fellow's thoughts, so he had to say this. What else can we do? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. You injured an elder of the Lung family. Are we going to let it go like this? Lung Xing was a little angry. Do you want me to pay for the medical fees? Lung Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. Shouldn't it be? Lung Xing was stunned and asked foolishly. Of course not. I don't have money, but I do have one life. However, that old man isn't dead yet. He shouldn't need my life. Lung Ruoxue said with a matter-of-factly smile. Of course I don't need your life. However, our 10th elder can't be beaten for nothing, so you still have to compensate for the money. How about this? I'll be a peacemaker, and you'll compensate a little for my sake. The 10th elder won't pursue this matter anymore, and everyone will be happy. Well, it's settled. Lung Qinya casually settled this matter without giving Lung Xing a chance to speak. He didn't even ask Lung Ruoxue and the 10th elder for their opinions. Grand Elder, I don't have money, Lung Ruoxua said speechlessly. Don't tell me you're so poor that you don't even have one amethyst coin? Well, it's okay if you don't have it. I'll pay for it, Lung Qinya said very generously. One amethyst coin. Not only was Lung Ruoxua stunned, but everyone from the Lung family in the hall was stunned. After they reacted, they couldn't help but grumble in their hearts. So the mighty 10th elder was only worth one amethyst coin. Wasn't this equivalent to being beaten for nothing? Alas, they were really too unlucky. I can afford one amethyst coin. Lung Ruoxua suppressed her smile and pretended to be in pain. Oh, I'll save it then. Lung Qinya smiled. Lung Xing was so angry that his face and neck were red. He was about to object when he was interrupted. Lung Xing, why are you so rude to call me old ancestor? Lung Qinya corrected. Yes, old ancestor. Lung Xing gritted his teeth. Lung Qianya's seniority was definitely higher than his. As for how high it was, he didn't know. However, even his grandfather had to pretend to be a grandson when he saw him. Therefore, it would be fine if Lung Qianya didn't fuss about his address. If he did, he would have to be a great-grandson. Boo. What was more infuriating was that Lung Qianya would often be so angry that others would forget his seniority. And he was the unlucky person who was often affected. Lung Xing, little Shuer, the matter with the 10th elder is settled. Moreover, this matter ends here. No one is allowed to mention it in the future. Otherwise, don't blame me for being unreasonable, Lung Qianya said domineeringly. Yes. Lung Xing was so angry in his heart, but he didn't dare to show it on his face because he knew that Lung Qianya would definitely do as he said. He naturally didn't dare to pluck the fur off the tigers, but, so he could only swallow his anger for the time being. He didn't believe that Lung Qianya could protect that girl for life. He believed that he would one day find a chance to teach that girl a lesson. At this moment, if he still couldn't tell that Lung Qianya was on Lung Ruoxia's side, then his hundreds of years of life would have been in vain. This is an amethyst coin. Please pass it to the 10th elder. Lung Ruoxia thought for a while, and then reluctantly took out an amethyst coin from the bracelet and handed it to Lung Yimin. Lung Yimin braced himself and accepted the hot amethyst coin under the gaze of the Grand Elder. Moreover, he didn't have to guess to know that the 10th elder would definitely not be in a good mood when he saw this amethyst coin. Alas! He really had nothing to say except to express sympathy for the 10th elder. Just like that, the dispute between the 10th elder and Lung Ruoxia was easily resolved by the Supreme Elder. The Lung family members present were already well aware that the 10th elder's plan to suffer this meal was for nothing. However, this was a matter decided by the Supreme Elder. No one dared to say anything even if they were unconvinced in their hearts. Haha, isn't today the welcome banquet for little Shuer? Everyone, don't just stand there. Let's eat. I'm hungry. With that, Lung Qianya sat down and began eating alone, ignoring everyone else. Big sister, let's eat first. Lung Ruoxia also picked up her chopsticks and said to Lung Shuang. Okay. Lung Shuang smiled happily, her mood especially good. The Lung family had no choice but to pick up their chopsticks and start eating when they saw the patriarch and the others sitting down and eating. However, no one dared to speak during the meal, so the entire banquet hall was relatively depressed. After finally finishing this welcome banquet, everyone immediately scattered like birds and beasts and returned to their residences under the order of the mistress of the household to disperse. They dared to guarantee that this meal was absolutely the most difficult they had ever had. This was obviously a hangmen banquet arranged for them. Lung Rumei was so angry that she smashed everything in the room into pieces after returning to her residence. After the welcome banquet, Lung Qianya blocked the way of Lung Ruoxia and the others and said shamelessly, Little Shuer, you haven't thanked me properly yet. Why should I thank you? Lung Ruoxia pretended to be stupid. I helped you settle the matter with the 10th elder. Lung Qianya said. But I didn't ask for your help. Moreover, you caused me to lose an amethyst coin. Lung Ruoxia tried to settle the score after the fact. Chapter 791. Supreme Elder, I don't have money 3. Little Schwer, you can't even bear to part with one amethyst coin? Lung Qianya was a little speechless. This girl's knock on the door was on par with his grandfather. Yes, one amethyst coin is also money. Moreover, it depends on who it is given to, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. One amethyst coin to beat up the 10th elder is very cost-effective. Lung Qianya reminded. Alas, he had to pay one amethyst coin for beating up an elder. It was really worth it no matter how he thought about it. What you say makes sense. Why don't I pay him another 100 amethyst coins? Lung Ruoxue blinked and looked at Lung Qianya expectantly. Could it be that you want to beat him up 100 times? Lung Qianya said excitedly. This girl was like him. He would be a bastard not to take advantage of her. Moreover, he felt that Little Schwer's suggestion was pretty good. I have too many subordinates. Last time, they complained to me that the 10th elder fainted because he didn't satisfy his craving. Therefore, if there's a chance, of course I hope to satisfy their request. Lung Ruoxue said very seriously. Little Schwer, don't think about it now. The 10th elder's injuries haven't healed yet. I heard that he still can't get up from bed after taking many pills. Lung Qianya's handsome face was full of regret. Oh, then let's wait for him to recover. Lung Ruoxue was very kind. The poor 10th elder didn't expect to be locked on by a certain little demon again. Little Schwer, there will be a competition in the clan in a few days. Don't forget to watch the commotion then. Lung Qianya reminded her, and left happily after speaking. Schwer, what does he mean? The freak asked in puzzlement after Lung Qianya left. Well, he didn't ask them to participate in the competition, but to watch the commotion. This person's idea was quite strange. He wants us to watch the competition. Freak, let's go back. Lung Ruoxue said, and then brought everyone back to Snowfall Garden. A week passed quickly. During this week, no one from the Lung family disturbed them except for Lung Wudi, who reported every day. This couldn't help making Lung Ruoxue and the others a little uncomfortable. Therefore, Fengde and the others strolled around the Lung family's main residence in boredom. In the garden of the Snowfall Garden, Lung Ruoxue, the freak empty, the little old man, Lung Ruhan, and Lung Qingtian were sitting in a pavilion in the garden, drinking tea and chatting. Schwer, ask Lung Wudi how long we have to stay here when he comes later, Lung Qingtian said. Grandpa, you've stayed long enough. Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. Yes, Schwer. Don't you want to go to the Dark Night Seas? Let's go there. Lung Qingtian suggested. During the few days he stayed in the Lung family, the Lung family didn't cause trouble for them, but the way they looked at them made him very uncomfortable, so he really didn't want to stay here for a moment. Grandpa, calm down. There's still some trouble here that needs to be resolved. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Lung Rume might not have appeared these few days, but she didn't think Lung Rume had learned her lesson. Who knew what bad ideas they were up to again? Schwer, let's solve those problems if we can. If not, let's leave directly. Lung Qingtian said. What he said couldn't be referring to if they didn't provoke them anymore. After all, if they attacked first, it would probably cause the Lung family to be collectively displeased. Well, becoming the public enemy of a super family was too troublesome. Okay, I'll ask Lung Wudi when he comes later. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Ask me what? Lung Wudi's voice sounded just as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking. Lung Ruoxue looked up and saw Lung Wudi walking into the pavilion. Moreover, he didn't come alone. Well, it seemed like the people from the other two families had already arrived. You are Lung Ruoxue? Sun Teng's face was full of amazement as he said in disbelief. Don't you already know? Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Lung Ruoxue, have I offended you before? Sun Teng asked directly in puzzlement. It was fine if Lung Ruoxue and the others were not enthusiastic about him, but why did they seem to be a little hostile to him? He really couldn't understand. No, but some people in your Sun family like to snatch civilian women, so we are destined not to be friends. Lung Ruoxue said very directly, because she didn't want to waste her time. Don't tell me you were also robbed, Sun Teng said speechlessly. He had also heard a little about how some people from the Sun family liked to do such things. However, he had not seen it with his own eyes after all, so he couldn't say anything. However, With Lung Ruoxia's current appearance, if anyone from the Sun family was foolish enough to provoke her, they could only blame their bad luck. After all, she was not so easy to snatch. Yes, but the lackey who came to snatch me is no longer in this world. The mastermind is still here. Lung Ruoxia said with a light smile. What do you mean? Sun Tung had a bad feeling. Was this a warning? Literally. Lung Ruoxia said innocently. Sun Tung understood. Lung Ruoxia was indeed reminding him, but this was an unforgettable fact as a member of the Sun family. Lung Ruoxia lowered her head in silence, seeing that Sun Tung understood. Swear, don't you have a question for me? Lung Wudi changed the topic, seeing the awkward atmosphere. Yes, Lung Wudi. Where is the person who wants to see us? Don't tell me that person is the Supreme Elder, Lung Ruoxia asked bluntly. Of course not, but I'm not sure when he will see you, Lung Wudi said helplessly. Boo. He was only responsible for bringing people here. How could he decide when that old ancestor wanted to see him? Oh. Lung Ruoxia stopped talking and pondered. Swear, I have something else to tell you. Lung Wudi was in a dilemma. What is it? Lung Ruoxia frowned. Did someone from the Lung family come up with another bad idea after resting for a few days? The Elder Association has decided to let the three of you represent the Lung family in the competition, Lung Wudi said softly. I'm sorry. I'm not from the Lung family. Your competition has nothing to do with me. Lung Ruoxia refused without thinking. What a joke. They were all mystic sovereigns. They were not interested in a child's competition of that level. They might consider it if it was a competition between mystic supremacies. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.